So there are several important things that we discussed yesterday. I'll just touch upon all of those elements. The first thing that we mentioned is, or we wanted you to receive it very, very well, is that it does not matter what categorization or what kind of labeling is there for your child or the lack of it. ऑटिज्म से लेके एडीडी जीडीडी वगैरह अलग अलग लेवल्स कौन से हैं आपके बच्चे के साथ में, किस डॉक्टर ने क्या आपको सजेस्ट किया है फॉर योर चाइल्ड, that does not matter significantly. Now this needs to be understood. It's a very complex issue and there are variety of factors which we have discussed during the day yesterday and we'll be discussing further today. So there are variety of complexities which happen in the entire body. And irrespective whether it is autism or dyslexia or ADHD or any of the names that you can see here and even beyond this, all of these factors, at the end of the day, there is no one specific medicine which can target brain related activity. That brain activity or impedance in the brain activity is primarily because of what is happening in the rest of the body, including metabolization of food, leaky gut, different kinds of heavy metal toxins, hormones and enzymes, their functioning, nutrients की functioning, as well as organ functioning is also getting involved. So बहुत सारे अलग अलग issues हैं. There is no one medicine which can target the entirety of what is happening, and this is one of the big reasons, because allopathy is very, very system specific or organ specific, which is why there is nothing which can, there is nothing which can cover the entirety. That is why you are prescribed something out of brain के लिए तो दवाई है नहीं, और सारे organs के लिए अलग अलग टारगेट करते हुए दवाई हो नहीं सकती, क्योंकि उस तरह से एलोपैथी काम ही नहीं करती है. So at the end of the day, you are suggested a bunch of different therapies. These are speech, OT, ABA, variety of different other possibilities, but all of these are external therapies. Now, irrespective of your condition, you would be prescribed different kinds of therapies in general, and there could be symptomatic medicine to control, let's say, hyperactivity through risperidone and so on and so forth. But इलाज के लिए as such कोई चीज नहीं होती है. So please take it out of your mind a treatment for autism and ADHD and X and Y has to be different. It is very, very similar from our approach and from almost any other approach as well. So this is the first thing which I wanted you to sort of ingrain in your mind. So is this fine? Is this something which is understood? There is, in terms of, it doesn't matter, these labels do not matter, because these labels are any which way a subjective understanding and subjective labeling. Right? So should I proceed? Yes or no? Right? So that we talked about autism. Now, autism, so largely, how do you determine if your child is autistic or not? So an autistic child or an autistic person typically has his own world. There is own world is because of a variety of reasons: lack of ability to socially interact, lack of ability to communicate in the manner. So it's not just speech, it's not just the ability to speak. केवल बोलने का नहीं, बोलने में बहुत सारी चीजें आती है, रिसेप्टिव अंडरस्टैंडिंग आती है, मेमोरी आती है, आपको सुनने की क्षमता भी आती है. Then there are different brain centers, calculations on an emotional level and calculations at a rational level. How do you mingle these two, and how does your personality come about while you're uttering a confident response? So all of that comes under communication. So communication is a challenging aspect. इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें आती हैं. And then finally about relationships. It is obviously becomes difficult for a person to build those relationships because the person lives or has certain kind of fixed notions about different characters and interplays. He any which way is hypersensitive. So a lot of information is getting inside the system through various senses. So the person tends to restrict itself in the kind of relationship the person develops and so on and so forth. So autistic बच्चे के बारे में समझना है तो बच्चा, और आप कंफ्यूज्ड हैं whether your child is autistic or not, so try and look for socialization, अपने हम उम्र के साथ में नए लोगों के साथ में कर पा रहा है कि नहीं, कम्युनिकेशन प्रॉपर हो पा रहा है कि नहीं, नॉट जस्ट स्पीच बट कम्युनिकेशन, कैसे रेस्पॉन्स देना है, 10% एंगर एंड 20% एंगर में डिफरेंस कैसे पता लगाना है, एंड कैन द पर्सन, कैन योर चाइल्ड is in a, or your rather your child, is he or she in a position to develop those relationships with new people, not just the close family but new people. So all of these factors are there in these issues. And similarly ADHD को समझना है तो ADHD के स्टेप बाय स्टेप अगर हम समझें, so ADD first of all, which is attention deficit disorder, lack of ability to focus onto a specific concept for a prolonged period. जैसे आप यहाँ पे बैठे हुए हो और सुन रहे हो मुझे 4 से 10 मिनट से 15 मिनट से, तो वो बच्चे के लिए पॉसिबल नहीं है। इसके साथ में अगर हाइपर एक्टिविटी भी आ जाती है, डिस्ट्रैक्शन रहता है, फोकस की कमी रहती है, एंजाइटी रहती है, मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज होते हैं इन जनरल, विच यू कैन कंपेयर विद अ नॉर्मल बीइंग, all of this finally results into having a high degree of challenges in being able to learn about new concepts, because concentration is required, focus is required, ability to understand and reciprocate is required. All of this is lacking in one way or the other. Now एक चीज और समझने की जरूरी है, epilepsy. Epilepsy can come along with epilepsy मतलब दौरे. एपिलेप्सी जरूरी नहीं है हमेशा विजिबल हो, कई बार साइलेंट भी हो सकती है, बट इफ इट इज देयर then basically medication probably would have started for you. Now epilepsy also is because of inflammation of the brain, and that is also because of a variety of different toxins crossing the blood brain barrier and inflaming the brain. That also could be treated, right? So with ADHD or ADD or autism, this entire autism spectrum disorder, इसके अंडर में ये सारी जो चीजें आती है उसमें एपिलेप्सी भी कुछ बच्चों को हो सकती है. Okay, so is this understood? I'll go further. इसके बाद में the second thing which we discussed was 87% बच्चों को ये प्रॉब्लम कंप्लीटली एपिजेनेटिक होती है, मीनिंग जीन्स में कुछ बदलाव अगर आए भी हैं तो पहले 1 साल 2 साल 2.5 साल 4 साल 5 साल शुरू के 6 महीने the milestones would have been normal, and all of a sudden regression started. Now if this has started with your child, then in that case it is because of environmental changes that the body has undergone some kind of a genetic change as well. So इस case में because it is due to environmental changes or epigenetic changes, it can be fully reversed for the child. Okay, is this something which has happened with you? Please type in yes or no. If there is regression after a certain period, 1 साल 1.5 साल 2 साल 2.5 साल या उसके बाद में, और ऐसा क्यों होता है? Yesterday somebody asked this question, why does this change happen after let's say 1.5 years to 2.5 years typically? That is primarily because a lot of changes at a mental level has to happen or need to happen in that age group basically. So if the body is unhealthy, then those changes do not go in the right direction. And to put it in a very simple manner, and therefore these changes, this regression quite often occurs after the age 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and in this range. So regression, अगर regression हुआ था क्या आपके बच्चों के साथ में? Milestones were absolutely normal, and then the child started regressing. Please type in yes if this is something which has happened with your child. Okay, I've also started a poll. Please make sure that you respond to the poll. So we talked about a variety of issues. I'll not spend too much time here. Now, this is again something important which you need to understand is that the science is evolving. Our understanding about autism spectrum disorder is also evolving. Over a period, we have talked or we have understood this problem emanating. ये problem की genesis या शुरुआत हो रही है अलग-अलग कारणों की वजह से. But unfortunately 1950-60 में 1970 में जो तरीका इसके लिए एक तरीके से prevalent होना शुरू हुआ था external therapies का, that same methodology has still continued. But science has evolved. We have understood, we now understand so many more things. So we can definitely go much more beyond these particular aspects of external therapy. Now, external therapy can help in behavioral modification. Yes, it can. It can help in behavioral modification of your child, but it cannot correct, क्योंकि आप कर क्या रहे हो, रोबोटिक तरीके से बच्चे को एक ही चीज को बार बार रिपीट करा रहे हो. तो जो चेंजेस, जो रिग्रेशन बच्चों को आते हैं, ये स्क्रीन आपको बता सकती है कि कितने बच्चों में चेंजेस पूरी तरह से रिवर्सिबल है. ये एक्चुअली एग्जैक्ट नंबर है 87%. सो 87% बच्चों में एपिजेनेटिक चेंजेस ही आते हैं. नाउ एपिजेनेटिक इज इंटरनल चेंज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. आपकी बॉडी के एनवायरनमेंट में आप खाना खा के, व्हेन यू आर ईटिंग, कंज्यूमिंग योर फूड, यू हैव टू ब्रेक योर फूड डाउन इनटू वेरियस micronutrients and nutrients, which trigger an activity of hormones and enzymes, which trigger an activity of different parts of different organs, which further trigger an activity eventually in your brain and neurons, and the connections happen, and storage and memory and calculations and emotions and everything happen. Even emotions, your child looking at you as a parent in a loving way, in a hateful way, that will happen because of hormones and enzymes. So this entire biochemical pathway goes through certain kind of breakdown. So that is something which we need to understand. This happens because of a variety of issues. उसमें से कुछ issues हम लोगों ने अभी discuss किए थे. So dysbiosis, which is an imbalance which is getting created in your good and bad bacteria inside your digestive system. So which is dysbiosis? It could be SIBO, which is bacterial overgrowth, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, या SIFO, which is fungal overgrowth, intolerances, different kinds of infections or allergies, toxic burdens. बहुत सारे आपको वैक्सीन्स की वजह से, या हैवी मेटल्स आपको यूटेंसिल्स की वजह से, या एनवायरनमेंट की वजह से, हवा की वजह से आ सकते हैं. देयर इज नॉट जस्ट वन फैक्टर. देयर आर सो मेनी डिफरेंट factors which are possible, and which obviously in the modern life is prevalent for one and all, for you, for everyone. It's just a matter of chance and probability that it does affect some people more and some people a little less. Okay, so this is how it is. So at the end of the day, all that we are trying to tell you is that it is not a behavioral disorder जिसको external therapy से behavioral correction करके पूरी तरीके से आप खत्म कर सकते हो. एक हद तक हेल्प कर सकती हैं all these external therapies, but it would not be in a position to eradicate the problem. So it is a multifaceted disorder which is associated with gastrointestinal tract, inflammation of body and brain, neural inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, allergies, all of which could be tested, and there could be strategies to mitigate these challenges which the body has developed within itself, so that the body could be healed. If the body is healed, brain अपने आप को correct करेगा. इसमें तो कुछ लोगों के सवाल ये जरूर आते हैं कि if the child is healed, then for how long we have to continue, or can the regression happen? Now, if the brain develops in a certain positive manner, then those pathways are getting created. Regression is highly unlikely. But yes, if there are certain good things, you would tend to follow them more than you won't, right? So it will help, but regression is highly unlikely. Okay, so there are a variety of issues that we discussed. Let me check if okay. So I'll just stop here. I'll just take one or two things also. One or two things more. So functional medicine versus conventional medicine. So is this something which you are familiar with now? Please type in yes if you know exactly what functional medicine does. Basically, or type in no if you do not understand what functional medicine does. I'll take a few questions also. Please raise your hands if you have a question. I'll take a couple of questions. Okay. So functional medicine at the so I'll just briefly touch upon it. So functional medicine at the end of the day is nothing magical. So you need to understand it is not a different kind of medicine. There is no brain medicine, whether it is homeopathy or X or Y, it doesn't really matter. The entire body has to be treated and corrected. And for that to happen, the most important thing is diagnosis. So you have to understand the entire body and entire biochemical pathways and correct and make corrective measures and strategies to correct the and heal the entire body. Therefore, leading to corrective measures in your brain, which the body does on its own. So we have to heal the body of the child, thereby leading towards recovery. Okay, Shiva, you had a question. Please go ahead. Unmute yourself. I'll just stop here for a little bit. I'll take a couple of questions. Chandu, you had a question. Shiva, you had a question. Yes, screen-induced autism is 100% reversible, and in fact, virtual autism के ऊपर बहुत लोगों ने सवाल पूछा था. So virtual autism or yeah, screen-induced autism or due to EMF radiations and all that, so that directly impacts your mitochondrial function. Now, mitochondria is present in each and every single cell in the body, including your brain cell. Okay, for a child, there are more mitochondria available than a grown-up adult in the brain. Okay, और दूसरा problem ये रहता है कि the skull itself is thin, so the EMF radiations can easily penetrate the skull of a younger child and can start impacting the functioning of mitochondria within the neurons of a brain cell. There are a lot of studies conducted of this. Now, if we create an environment wherein we are making the mitochondria healthy directly and indirectly and creating an environment, then this can be fully recovered and easily recovered, by the way. Okay, so Rajkumar, I hope it answers your question. Okay, Shiva, go ahead, ask your question. Anybody, any questions, please unmute yourself. I am willing to take a few questions. Yeah, Romy, please go ahead.
सर हमें ट्रीटमेंट मिल सकता है, हम कश्मीर से बिलोंग करते हैं.
क्या मिल सकता है मैडम?
ट्रीटमेंट बच्चे के लिए उसको
नहीं मिलेगा. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल ट्रीटमेंट मिलेगा, और ट्रीटमेंट के बारे में ही हम थोड़े समय में बात करने वाले हैं. आप जहां पर भी होगे, कश्मीर में होगे या हिंदुस्तान के बाहर भी होगे, तो भी आपको ट्रीटमेंट पूरी तरीके से मिलेगा. उसमें कोई
sir. How long it will be there, sir?
So it obviously varies for the child. So typically what you can expect is, this is why we have treatment period which is of 3 months slot. So we do a testing, and we'll explain the process very shortly. So we do testing, we understand where the child is, prepare a treatment plan for about 3 months. You can expect around 25 to 35%, maybe even 40-45% recovery within this 2.5-3 month period. And then we recalibrate by retesting child in a limited manner, and then for the next 3 months and subsequent 3 months. Now it is expected anywhere between, depending upon different children and their requirement and their extent and condition, age, everything. So anywhere between 6 to 14 months is what we typically understand as the treatment period.
Everything will be settled down, sir?
Yes, that's the expectation. The expectation is to make your child diagnosis free. कोई लेवल ना रहे उसके ऊपर.
Okay. Actually, my son is having some digestive issues, and nowadays he is eating properly only. But even though he is very lean, sir, he is not getting muscle mass properly. I don't know. He is 6 years old. So he is always 16.
Malabsorption would be there. Some infections would be there, and definitely dysbiosis, which is imbalance in good and bad bacteria. Because good bacteria breaks down food and helps in absorption of those nutrients within your gastrointestinal tract. So if there are nutritional deficiencies, they also have to be parallelly addressed. So wo ho jayega. That can be fully resolved.
Okay. Do we need to take any tests for that, sir? If at all any nutritional
deficiencies? Yes, there are tests. We'll talk elaborately about the tests very shortly.
Okay.
There are tests.
Yeah.
There are definitely tests.
Yeah. He's academics wise, he's better only, sir. And nowadays he's Telugu, he's speaking properly only. Yeah, some languages improving actually after removing phone, and because of COVID, no, all the time TV, phone, that time no language improvement. So after going school, and he's improving a lot actually. So he's speaking properly only, but his digestion, and he's not showing much interest on food. Sometimes he's showing on bad, he's showing interest on bad foods more. If I am keep on telling him, I won't give bad foods actually. I'll try to give healthy foods only. But
We'll
even
learn
though
a lot of things, man. The child can be fully corrected in short time. It won't
okay,
take an year or more in your child's case, definitely.
okay, okay.
So I'll just take a couple of questions from the chat. So mitochondria, I'll explain, Neelam. So what age limit can it help? If above the 18 years. See, basically we are healing the body. So irrespective of the age, it is bound to help. In terms of age, there are 3 age limits typically. So any child less than 7-8 years of age, there is absolutely complete possibility of a very fast recovery. Okay. Then recovery becomes a little slower. It's not the possibilities of what can happen in terms of recovery. It's basically the speed of it. The speed gets lower for children over age 12 and 13 because a lot of hormones start kicking in. And then there is a psychological age of around 19 years of age when the child usually becomes stronger than the parent. Then that control and that, advising the child to do certain things and all that, that becomes a little difficult. So compliance becomes a little difficult, adding to delays in recovery. Otherwise, recovery is fully possible irrespective of the age. Now, virtual and generic autism, you don't have to worry about autism, virtual or XYZ. किसी पेरेंट को virtual autism की definition में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि marketing terminology है. This is not a different kind of condition. Okay, whether it is virtual or generic or whatever kind of autism it is, at the end of the day, autism, what is same challenges are there with the child, just that the reasons of those challenges could be different. That doesn't matter. The way a virtual autism child would be treated or a generic autism child would be treated would be exactly the same. The recovery would be similar. It would depend upon the present state, not why or the reason why he started getting into this problem. Okay, Miss, please raise your hand so that we can organize this better. Miss Roy, please go ahead, ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Sanjay, please go ahead. You could not ask yesterday.
Yes, yes. सर एक्चुअली मेरा बेटा है ना, एक 2 years का है लगभग. तो उसको है ना अभी आई कांटेक्ट कम हो गया. मतलब क्या हुआ कि हम लोग दोनों वर्किंग है, तो बच्चे को ध्यान देने के लिए सिर्फ माँ है. तो उसका आई कांटेक्ट है ना कम हो गया, और जो पहले वो बात करता था वो बहुत लिमिटेड हो गया. हम लोग ने जस्ट अभी ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी स्टार्ट की है, 1-2 ही सेशन हो गए. तो इज इट रिवर्सिबल फुल्ली?
अरे बिल्कुल, क्यों नहीं सर, डेफिनेटली डेफिनेटली.
एक्चुअली क्या है सर, उसका जो आई कांटेक्ट है ना, पहले वो बुलाने के बाद देखता था, आता था. अब वो बुलाने के बाद देखता भी नहीं, आता भी नहीं. अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा इंप्रूवमेंट हो रहा है.
देखिए,
तो
बच्चे
मुझे ये पूछना था
किसी
कि
के साथ लगाव पैदा करने के लिए आपको इमोशन चाहिए.
मतलब irreversible
और
होता है.
डॉक्टर संजय, मैं आपकी बात पे जवाब दे रहा हूँ.
हाँ बोलिए.
बच्चे आपको रेस्पॉन्ड करे और आपसे इंटरेक्ट करे, उसके लिए इमोशंस चाहिए. और इमोशंस के लिए आपको पता है कि हार्मोन्स का बहुत तगड़ा रोल रहता है. हार्मोन्स किस हिसाब से रिलीज हो रहे हैं, किस हिसाब से एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स काम कर रहे हैं, ब्रेन के अलग अलग सेंटर्स में डेवलप होना और आपस में न्यूरल कनेक्टिविटी बनाने के लिए वो न्यूट्रिएंट्स पहुंच पा रहे हैं, नहीं पहुंच पा रहे, ये फैक्टर्स है जो हमारे कंट्रोल में है, जिनको हम समझ भी सकते हैं और करेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं. जब हम ये कर पाते हैं तो बच्चों के इमोशंस भी डेवलप होते हैं, बातचीत भी डेवलप होती है, रिलेशनशिप बना पाना आपसे और नए लोगों से, वो सारी चीजें संभव हो पाती है.
ओके, थैंक यू.
We'll take 2 or 3 more questions before we begin. Dr. Ashwini is also there. Good evening, Dr. Ashwini.
Good evening, Ayush.
Yes, sir. Mr. Romi Malik, please go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, hi, this is Miss. Actually, my baby is 11 months old. She had some brain injury while delivery. It was a normal delivery. So during the labor pain, she had some injury. So though the doctors are not very sure it's about the condition, she's perfectly fine, as in physically fine. But yes, all the symptoms which you have mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, I can see many of them in her, like poor eye contact and not responding to her name whenever she, not every time, and then clapping, repetitive activities. So all these things are there. So is it something that can be taken care of with this line of treatment?
Yes, of course. Why not? 100%.
Okay, since the small injury is there, so that is why I was more curious to know.
These things could be completely healed. Obviously,
Okay.
it depends upon the
Severity.
better level of understanding about your child's present situation. But yes,
Sure.
we can definitely help.
All right.
Nitesh,
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Nitesh, of course, I mean, behavior is the primary aspect, right? So, definitely yes, 100%, 200%. Richa, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Sir, can you tell me how does it functional medicines treatment? My child is 9 years old and he is ADHD and ADHD boys.
आप शायद कल नहीं आ पाए होंगे, तो आप सेशन में जुड़े रहिएगा सर. और
कल में था सर.
पूरी बॉडी में अगर किसी के बच्चे की हाइपर एक्टिविटी होती है तो उसके पीछे कारण है बॉडी के अंदर जो छुपे हुए हैं.
नहीं, ये फंक्शनल मेडिसिन क्या सर अच्छे से काम करेगी इस पे क्या? एडीएचडी
बिल्कुल करेगी, क्यों नहीं करेगी? कोई कारण ही नहीं है नहीं करने के लिए. Dr. Ashwini, there is a question by Mr. Rajiv Gupta.
Yes, sir.
So 31-year-old son. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
there in the group chat if you could read. So should I read it for you, sir?
I can read it.
Hello.
He's not able to settle down as he does not have a normal. So Rajiv sir, certainly we can look into it, and then whatever the issues which is causing him the trouble or unsettling, there will always something physical issues which is always a problem. We can look into it and we can work on that.
So to whom I should contact, sir?
वो सर सारी डिटेल्स आपको अभी देंगे हम लोग सेशन के दौरान, और व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में आप होंगे उसमें भी देंगे.
Okay, sir. Then I am very much worried because the age is going on, or this person is, my son is not getting settled. Every time he joins, he is terminated. So that is the problem is coming. So I was very much worried. What should I do? How get it resolved? Because definitely he has the effect, because in his childhood at the age of 8th year, there was febrile conversion, and he has medicine for 2 years continuously of epilepsy. So that's why he got drowsiness in his brain, and that effect is educational base has also become weak because of this. So that is the effect on that I feel. I feel that there may definitely be a therapy or sessions which can get him resolved.
Right, so I think definitely at the biological level, at the physical level, let's say drugs have done some side effects, or there's anyways underlying, because seizures were there has to be something which is causing inflammation.
Yes.
Those things we can look into and definitely work. Of course,
Okay, I will call you and I will take the appointment. Then we will discuss, sir.
All right, sir. Sure.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So one thing which I wanted to address, because a lot of parents might be confused about this. Behavior अगर बच्चे का ऐसा है जो कि आपको normal से different लग रहा है, okay? So this is not just one Mr. Nitesh that I'm responding to, but to largely all parents. So when you we are all attuned because we have been told about external therapy so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times. And we have gone to these therapy centers. So everyone keeps asking us about physical center. Now, these physical centers work with your child individual basis or collective basis, and they give them certain activities to do again and again in a robotic manner. सुबह से शाम तक एक ही एक्टिविटी को या हर दूसरे दिन हर तीसरे दिन एक ही एक्टिविटी को बार बार रिपीट करना है. उससे बिहेवियर करेक्ट हर नए एनवायरनमेंट में नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि अगर कुर्सी पे बैठना बच्चे को नहीं आता है, चलो वो सिखा दिया, लेकिन कुर्सी की बजाय बेंच होगी, कल को पत्थर होगा, कल को नया एनवायरनमेंट होगा जब बैठना चाहिए ही नहीं, कुर्सी है तो भी, वो बच्चा कैसे सीखेगा? दैट कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटी टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन can develop only when we address the reasons why behavioral problems are coming in the first place. So for that, testing is required. For that, understanding of how body is working at the present level is required, and corrective strategies are required, which are internal in nature, not external therapies. So ये मैं ऐड करना चाहता था. Sir, over to you, sir. I'll check up.
So shall we start the session, Ayush?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. So I think we discussed yesterday a few points. One thing is about the prevalence and the genetics. Prevalence is increasing, genetics is not changed. That basically establishes the point that it is not just purely a genetic problem. Now, if it is not a genetic problem, then there's a lot of scope for us to make an improvement. Okay. Second, autism, ADHD, they need a medical treatment because there are so many issues within their body. Okay, they might be having infections, they might be having heavy metals, they might be having a poor liver function, they might be having a thyroid poor function, they might be having low nutrition, their mitochondria might be disturbed. So there could be so many problems which is leading the child to have certain behaviors. Now these behaviors are stemming from some underlying issues. Now, without addressing the underlying issue, we're trying to fix the behavior by using a behavioral therapy. But that might not be enough. And in most cases, as a parent, you know more than the disease because you have been dealing with the problem day in, day out with your child. You know that sometimes behavioral therapies does not really bring about a change because it is something in the body which is causing the problem. So if we have to fix the problem, we have to see what is the root cause, where is this problem stemming from. Okay, now because these problems are never addressed in a very elaborate way, they're just there's a label, there's a diagnosis, and different therapies are given. We never address the root cause, never be able to bring a major change to the child because we were never addressing the right way. So I think this is the premises where we are just helping you understand different aspects of the disease. Now, just to reiterate what is this functional medicine? Functional medicine is nothing new. It's just a way of looking at the problem differently. Instead of looking at the symptoms, we want to look at the root cause. There has to be something wrong in the biology. Because of that, there's an outcome. There's a manifestation. Now, manifestation can only be resolved if we resolve the underlying problem. Now, this is where the fundamental difference of functional medicine and conventional thought process. Now, functional medicine is much more advanced in those terms of looking at the root cause. So I'll start with the presentation. We'll get a little more deeper in terms of each of the symptoms. Okay. Now, a lot of time we get confused why this symptom, or why this problem, that problem. Again, if we don't understand the problem, it's very, very difficult. But at least if somebody connects dots for you as a parent, it becomes easy for you to at least understand why this is happening. Now, once you know why this is happening, then at least you start thinking the right direction. Now, if we keep moving in the wrong direction, doesn't matter how many kilometers we travel, we might not still be reaching the destination because we're just going ulta. Okay, so we get little more deeper into the problem. For example, speech delay, lack of speech. Now, if somebody has a lack of speech or speech delay, we try to train them, we try to give them a therapy so that they can pick up a speech. Now, if my body is unhealthy, my body is all lacking onto certain raw materials, my body has certain inherent problems. How do somebody train me on speaking? Because I'm not speaking because I have some problems. Not that I'm lacking the training. Okay. Now, just to give you an example, a lot of these kids the children that they work with us, all of a sudden from non-verbal, they turn into verbal. They knew the words already. They could not just utter the word, or they could utter the words, they could not communicate. Now, it's not that they did not know what to do. It just because of something is not allowing them, something is hindering their whole process of the speech. That is where the whole issue is. For example, if there's a deficiency of essential fatty acids, B12 deficiency, B6, B9, B1, creatine, carnitine, CQ10, sulfur-rich compound, magnesium, iron, butyrate. Now, all of these are very, very common deficiencies in these children. Now, these are the reason. These are some of the reason why your child might not be communicating, might not be speaking, might not be even uttering a word. Not necessarily there's a lack of the speech therapy. So you have to understand every problem there has to be a reason. Until we resolve the reason, it's very difficult to resolve the issue. Now, they can be retained primitive reflexes, they can be mitochondrial dysfunction, they can also be cerebral folate deficiency, seizure, apnea, tongue tie, other reasons also there. Okay, there has to be a reason behind the problem. Not that, the conventional way of, this. So if there is a calcium to magnesium ratio disruptor, I said magnesium deficiency also means that calcium to magnesium ratio is high, means calcium might be depositing the soft tissues. That can also affect the speech and the clarity on communication. Choline deficiency can be a problem. GABA to glutamine ratio could be, if GABA is low, glutamine is high, that could be a problem. Heavy metals could be a problem. Mold toxins could be a problem. Dysbiosis, infections in the intestines could be a problem. Overall inflammation in the body or the brain could be a problem. You see, there are so many problems. And apart from what I mentioned, there could be something else also. So there is something wrong in their body. Because of that, they're not able to communicate. They're not able to speak and utter words. Now, first thing is we have to make these bodies healthy. Then you try training your child and he'll perform much, much better. But if something which is unhealthy in this body is not corrected, how do we even fix the problem? Okay. Now, development delays means gross or fine motor delay, socialization delay, communication delay, cognitive delay. Could be so many delays as development delay that happens in a child. Now, what are the reasons behind that? Also could be cerebral folate deficiency, could be seizures, could be mineral vitamin deficiency, B12 deficiency, B1 deficiency, mitochondrial dysfunction, hypothyroidism. Their T3, T4 can be low. They might be having hypothyroidism also because of the autoimmunity, which is also Hashimoto thyroiditis, which is again not uncommon. But unfortunately, we don't really test it. We don't really work upon it. And more importantly, even let's say Hashimoto is positive, there's no solution to the problem. Then when there's no solution as per the conventional thought process, we think, okay, let it be. We cannot fix it, let it be. But fortunately, there are reasons behind Hashimoto's thyroiditis also, and we can fix those reasons. As a consequence, the child will start developing better. Immune dysfunction, which is very, very common. Most of these kids, they frequently get sick. They get fever, they get cold, they got sores, a whole lot of problems. And then, yesterday one of the mother was also saying that because of that, they have to be given multiple antibiotic doses. Now, antibiotic might give the temporary relief of fighting the infection, but then again, we disrupt the microflora to the extent that the problem will increase. Their hyperactivity after antibiotic shot will increase. Their aggressiveness will increase. Their zoning out will increase. Their self-injurious behavior, all this staying in their own cushions will increase. Now you see, for a temporary relief, we might do something which have a long-term effect on the child. Okay, so everything parents we are doing for your child has to be very, very thought through. Okay, we cannot take random decisions. We cannot emergency decisions always. We have to really conclude what it has as a long-term effect, good or bad. Then you make a call for your child. It's very, very important. Small things have a big outcome on this physical body. Irritability, aggressions, meltdown, very, very common. Why it can happen? If some child has a GI issues like constipation. If child is constipated, that can make them aggressive, that can make them more irritable. If they have headaches, they cannot tell you that I have headache, but they have a headache. They don't know how to tell you that they have a headache. They might be irritable, they might be aggressive, they might be having meltdowns just because they have a headache. They might have migraine pain, they might have a sinus pain, they might have a dental issues, they might have a ear infection, which is very, very common. There has to be something wrong behind these symptoms. Now, it's very, very unlikely that these symptoms are just out of nowhere. Now, if your child is aggressive, your child is having meltdown, your child is irritated, and can we just do therapy and fix it? Not that I'm against therapy, my friends, I'm not against therapy. All I'm saying, there is a pathology behind the problem. Now, along with the therapies, it is important that we fix the problem as well. Now, if the problem is not fixed, how do we bring a sustainable resolution to the problem? Okay, just somehow patching the work will not effectively, remove the problem. So anxiety, low levels of minerals, vitamins, low level of cholesterol, infections like Lyme's, PANS and PANDAS, low blood sugar. When they have fungal infection will eat away all the sugars. Child can get onto low sugar, which is very, very common. Again, it's not uncommon. If you check their ketones, the ketones might be high. That low blood sugar can give them irritability, aggression, and meltdown. Can this be treated by external therapies? Adrenal fatigue, low cortisol, lead toxicity, high ammonia, elevated ammonia, which is again very, very common. Food allergies, sensitivities to certain foods. Now you see, behind one symptom, there could be so many positive factors. If we have to solve the problem, we have to remove the causative factors. Until the causative factor is out, the problem is not going anywhere. Okay. Today I spoke to one of the parents. He says, my child is 10 years old. Child has been recovering. All of a sudden, there's more meltdowns and more aggressions and all that. They have been doing all the therapies, whatever they have been asked to do, they have been doing it. But then all of a sudden, these problems started again. This also give you a clue that these are not static problems. If you don't solve the underlying problem and don't eliminate the causative factors, the problem can come back with more severity also. Until it is resolved, it can come back with more severity. Because if you don't solve the problem is growing in their body. It's a biology which is unwell. Because of that, they are having these symptoms. Now, sensory processing issues, they take a stimuli, they take it to the brain, they process, and they cannot respond to the stimulus. Okay, that's a sensory process. They might not even be able to handle this, stimulus, or not able to process or to react to it. Now, then we think it's more in some behavioral problem. It's not a behavioral problem. It could be a B6 deficiency, magnesium deficiency, food intolerances, fungal overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, especially Clostridia. Until the problem causative is out of their body, it is difficult to resolve. You can try a little bit here and there by doing a behavioral therapy, but it is not a permanent because the underlying problem is not resolved. Now, with toe walking, very, very common. Again, it is a big issue. As simple as constipation can cause toe walking. Mineral deficiency, especially magnesium, zinc can cause, calcium deficiencies can cause toe walking. Thiamine deficiency, fungus overgrowth, high oxalates. So oxalates are crystals, okay, of oxalic acid. Now they can deposit under the feet and they can give a pain to the child. Because of that pain, child is doing a toe walking. So if we have to, it's not a behavior the child is doing a toe walking now. It's very important that they don't walk on the toes as a behavior. They're walking on the toes because their feet are hurting. You ask them to walk, but their feet are hurting, so they are walking on the toes. So if you resolve the oxalates, they start walking normal. It is not something coming out of nowhere. This has to be a causality. There has to be a reason. Stimming, again constipation, again fungal overgrowth, again low cholesterol, low minerals, high glutamate, high ammonia. So there has to be reason why your child is having a certain behavior. So if we have to resolve your child, we have to fix the underlying problem. Now, lack of attention, lack of focus could be as simple as iron deficiency, magnesium deficiency, vitamin D, zinc, folate, reduced blood flow. If you don't get your child under sunlight, they don't make enough nitric oxide, they don't dilate their vessels. As a consequence, there could be a low blood supply to the brain, low oxygen. As a consequence, focus cannot be there. Okay, sometimes things are staring on our face, but really we don't look into the right direction. We always, what is told to us, we really mess around and really don't fix the problem. Now, as the science is progressing, we are also finding that autism, ADHD, and similar problems, there could be a huge level of autoimmunity involved. What is autoimmunity? Your own immune system is attacking on your own self. So anti-myelin cells, anti-neuron proteins, anti-glial cells, so many antibodies which is affecting the brain cells in different ways, and that also can cause these behavioral problems. Now, if antibodies are high, we have to work upon cutting down the reasons which is causing the autoimmunity. Thereby, the damage on the brain will stop happening. Thereby, the child will start repairing. Thereby, the symptom will start regressing. Not that this is coming out of nowhere. There is a reason behind every problem. That as a doctor, I might not be knowing everything in the world, but fairly we know the right direction. Okay, we know the right tools to support your child. The science is ever evolving, and every time we get a new answer. But still, it is important. At least we are walking in the right direction. If we are walking in the right direction, it might take 6 months, it might take 9 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, but we still have a lot to gain in terms of our child's health. We have still a lot to gain to the extent the child can almost become normal, or the tag is off. ADHD tag is gone, autism tag is gone. It is possible, guys. It is possible, but it demands a lot of hard work. It demands a lot of commitment. It demands sustained efforts for good enough time. Okay, it's not easy, but then do we have a simple option? No. Do we have a simple answer to the problem? No. Will anybody even tell you that this is possible? No. Probably you might be hearing me. I'm the only one saying this. I am saying because I want to help your child, and we are seeing that this is happening. Okay. Now, in terms of the solution, what is that we need to do? The lifestyle, the food, the infections, the toxins, the organ function, the nutrition, all the fundamentals, nothing new, just the fundamentals. Our body to be healthy has certain requirements as set by the nature. We just has to follow that. Okay, we all come from two cells, one mother cell, one father cell. They come together, and we are able to make a human body out of that. Not that we need a doctor to stretch us and make a human out of that. These two cells has all the information to create a human body. What does these two cells need? A conducive environment in mother's womb. If mother is healthy, mother's womb is healthy, the child will be healthy, and conducively they turn into healthy male or a female. But then if environment is not kept right, this is where the problem is. Our body is born with the intelligence to be healthy. It's not that all want to be sick. So this is very, very fundamental to understand. Okay, and a lot of time we are told the other way around, which is not true. Just for your own understanding, I'm repeating some of the things. Now, first thing first is our body physical cells are made of the food that we eat, the water we drink, the light we expose our body to, the air we breathe. This makes this physical body. If we feed ourselves, our kids, with the food which is not conducive to their body, which is not good for their body, which is hybrid in nature, which can be toxic to their body, can we really expect them to function normally, behave normally? Which is not happening, right? We feed our child with a lot of gluten, a lot of white rice. These are negative grains. You feed them, the health will deteriorate. So if we have to improve the child, we have to put them on a better grains, better foods. So at least stop gluten, stop white rice, stop dairy, because the hybrid nature. White rice is bad because it does not have any nutrition, it's just a pure carb. If any nutritionist tell you that, my mothers and dada dadis have been eating white rice, I can also eat white rice, probably they don't know what they're saying. They're too naive to know the truth, or maybe they're just concealing the truth from you. White rice has no nutrition effectively, no carbs, no proteins, no fats, no fibers. Effectively, our body is fat and protein. Carbs is just a small part. Okay, if we don't have any good thing to eat, you can turn for white rice. Not that white rice is some nutritious food for you. Gluten, stop dairy, stop sugars, stop refined foods, stop packaged foods. At least stop feeding them what is bad for them. That's you know already. It's nothing rocket science. Again, I'm telling you. It's that it is bad for them, and you have to stop them. If you have to improve your child, you have to feed the best of the food or the worst of the food. Now, only if you avoid the worst of the food, the child will start developing habits for the good food. Now, the worst of the food might have a good taste, but then that is not good for them. Okay, so child is a very, very malleable thing. You don't feed them 2-3 days, they get hungry, they will eat whatever is given to them. Okay, make sure you're feeding your child a rainbow diet, lot of different veggies and healthy fruits and all that to be done. Now, a rainbow diet means it brings a lot of variety of nutrients that are required for this body. And if your child is a picky eater and you allow this habit to develop, they will never come out of that. They are good, happy in their own comfort zone. But then as a parent, you are knowing and you are responsibly knowing that this is good, this is bad. You have to stop the bad, you have to introduce the good. It might take some effort, but we have to do what is good for them. Now, our health is also dependent on the microbial colonies in the gut, on the body, in the body. Now, more fermented foods we eat, for example, sauerkraut, kombucha, kefir, pickles, and all that, they will feed us a lot of healthy microbes. That itself becomes a boon for the body. Now, be careful about the probiotics, especially fermented foods, straight away introducing. Don't do that. First, we have to do the infection control. If your child has any infections, those infections to be controlled, then we can introduce these different kind of probiotics. But then these probiotics really boost up the immune system, boost up the health of the child. Then to kill up the bad guys, we might have to put different strategies, but as simple as the herbs at home, turmeric, jeera, swamp, giloi, neem, you can start feeding them some of these herbs by boiling in the water or by adding to the food, so that they start killing their infections. Infections is a big major problem that these kids face. 80% of the body, especially a younger child, has more water content. As we get old, the water content will reduce. So water is very, very extremely important. Now, some of these kids don't drink enough water. Some of them, they drink excess water. Now, why would a child drinking excess water? Because the body is still not hydrated. The water they might be drinking is not hydrating their body, or the salt content in the body is not enough to retain water. If your child is drinking excess water, the means quality is bad or the salt content in the child's body is low. So improve the quality of the water. As one simple practice that you can do is take your RO water, your clean water in a glass bottle, jar, pitcher, whatever available to you, plain, keep it under sun for 3 hours, and you can use that for sun charging, and that will start becoming therapeutic water for your child. Hydration will improve. Excess amount of water drinking will reduce. If your child is not drinking at all or not drinking less water, even though you are forcing, then you can give them more extra salt, or you can expose them to a lot of sunlight. That will kickstart their drinking enough water. Now, good quality water can act as an antioxidant, can bring homeostasis, can activate NRF2 pathway, which is more production of the antioxidants. Radiation damage protection can also be done by the good quality water, which has more electrons into it. Free radical damage can also be protected by drinking good quality water. Now, water is extremely important. We think, it's only for the thirst. No, water is required for all the cellular processes in the body. Our body function has to happen. Body should have enough water. Now, this is where the problem comes in when the body is dehydrated. Your child's body is dehydrated. That is why a lot of behaviors can happen. So collectively, we have to look at each of the problem and accordingly we have to take the corrective action. Kind of light our body is exposed to is also playing a major role on our health. Okay. Now, if I'm sitting under tube lights all the time, LED lights all the time, mobile screen, TV screen, this is emitting blue light, and blue light is actually alone. Blue light can be a big problem to my health, to my mitochondria. Actually, red light is very, very healthy for the mitochondria. Okay, red light, 45% of the sunlight is simply red light. Okay, now if we get more red light to the child, mitochondria energy production will increase. Neurogenesis, growth and development of the nervous system will improve. Exposing the child to the more sunlight will stimulate growth and development of the nervous system. Synaptogenesis means more connections, more learnings. Formation of synapses between neurons and reduction in inflammation will happen if you take your child under sunlight. Now, if your child is always under tube lights, LED lights, under the screens, how would this stimulate the regeneration and regrowth of the brain? How would they develop a healthy brain once again if there's something wrong in the brain? Sometimes just we having poor habits, keeping our kids, our child to be unwell. And unfortunately, we cannot, forget the rules of the nature and do something else and still be happy. It's not happening. More we are disconnected from the reality, more we are disconnected from the nature, more we are sicker. Just look around, 30, 40, 50 years back, disease was not so rampant. Today, disease is rampant. And if you compare to the past, today we are more far away from the nature. This is a big change that has happened in society. We stay under all, hygiene conditions. We have been told to just put on a mask, disconnect yourself from the society, disconnect from yourself from the relations that we have. This is making us really, really unwell and sick. Our immune system is taking a toll, big toll. Okay, so photobiomodulation simply means getting more sunlight to your child can improve their neurons and brain health. Avoiding the electromagnetic fields from all the gadgets, screens, artificial lights, mobile towers. This is a big, big factor behind growing number of children with this problem. Now, from the day one they're born, we expose them to so much radiation. How do we expect them to behave normally, function normally, develop normally, brain to be normal, development happening? It's really not happening. So simple practices we have to. Grounding, very, very powerful technique. Just allow their body to be in touch with the ground. They get more electrons from the ground. Their redox potential increases. Their immunity increases. Their regeneration increases. Just be in touch with the ground can kickstart your regeneration. Okay, the simple practice doesn't cost anything, but it's very, very effective. If your child is hyperactive, at least to take them into park, remove their chappals and slippers, let them run around, they become calm. Okay, your child is hyperactive, take them to park, remove the chappal slippers, let them run around, they will calm down. Really, they will calm down. Okay. It brings a lot of balance, a lot of homeostasis in the human system. Not a very difficult job, doesn't cost anything, just we have to do the right things. Okay, now simply following the right things, good light, good water, good food, infection control, detoxification, removal of the heavy metals, optimization of the organs. Within 2 months of following the plan, the parents could fetch 28% of them, they had improved speech and receptive understanding. 30% of them have improved sleep patterns, 48% have improved eye contact, stimulant improved, compulsive behavior, hyperactivity improved, sociability, GI improvement, motor skills. The child will improve in all aspects. Not that we are doing different things for different problems. We're only making the child healthy. And as the child is becoming healthy, all of these problems, the hallmarks of the disease start regressing. The problem will start going away. The child will start getting more and more healthy, and more improvement can come. Now, this much of improvement is just too much. If we want to have a complete recovery, we might take 9 months, 1 year, 1.5. It depends on what is the age, what is the severity, and all that will decide how well you are able to follow concretely the recommendations. But then there's a huge possibility, at least in 90-95% of the cases, it is a possibility. That is a big number. Okay. And unfortunately, today we are just, this problem is growing much bigger, and hardly anybody giving any answers and any solutions to the problem. So I think we as a set of parents has to learn about the problem ourselves. Yesterday, one of the parents is doing a lot of research, and many of you are doing this kind of a work, which is required. Until we really delve deeper, we are only willing to just depending on some external, it might not get to the real answers. But if you collaborate with the right doctors and right teams, then I'm sure solutions are not far away, answers are not far away, so the recovery is not far away. So I think this much I will have as a presentation. Then over to Ayush. Post that will take up your questions.
So before we talk about the process, some basic frequently asked questions. कुछ बहुत सारे सवाल होते हैं जो पेरेंट्स को परेशान करते हैं. तो सबसे पहली चीज, the treatment is digital. You don't have to go physically to a place. You don't have to travel. And the reason why it is digital only is because of 3 reasons. The first reason is we want to remain objective, and we want to heal your child, treat your child, and resolve your child completely. उसके लिए objective रहना, उसके behavior के pattern से assumptions लगाना कि ये problem हो रही है, उससे हम दूर रहना चाहते हैं. We don't want to assume your child's problem by looking and observing him. We want to go by parameters. We want to go by diagnostics. We want to go by black and white to try and understand the exact problem inside his or her body. So उसकी basis पे treatment हो. So remaining basically digital helps us achieve that level of objectivity. Second, there is a very strong element of education. Parents के मन में बहुत, this is not just the treatment of the child, it is more of a psychological assistance to parents, and also methodic education for the parents as well, because parents need to execute so many things. It is a very difficult transformation that parents also have to go through. So for that perspective, parents का education बहुत important है, which individually is impossible. So at the end of the day, there have to be sessions for parental education that can happen practically in a group online. So that is there. And the third reason is community. There are so many things you need to learn from each other also beyond our support system. So for that reason, so that a vibrant community could be there, wherein you can help each other out and you can gain expertise and understanding on a real-time basis from us. For all these 3 reasons, the treatment is digital only. Okay. So you don't have to worry about which place. You don't have to worry about test. You are living in a remote area. You're living in Bengal or Arunachal Pradesh, या आप कश्मीर में कहीं पे हो, या हिंदुस्तान के बाहर कहीं हो, आप मिडिल ईस्ट में हो, या कहीं पे भी हो, it does not really matter. We have the ability, हम लोग आपके टेस्ट के सैंपल्स भी कोऑर्डिनेट कर सकते हैं, और हम आपको ट्रीटमेंट और गाइडेंस और कंसल्टेशन भी पूरी तरीके से हर जगह पहुंचा सकते हैं. So none of that is a challenge. So by and large, we are talking about a 3-month-long treatment program, online treatment program. There are 3 elements common to this treatment. One, obviously, every child is very, very different. So the treatment has to be very, 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 very individualized. So we have to understand per child, your child. We have to have the background of the child, all the previous tests and reports, everything needs to be there in place. All the behaviors, all the symptoms, everything has to be understood and correlated with each other. उसकी basis पे test वगैरह कराना for your child and therefore prescription for your child in a variety of different ways, which we are going to explain. Okay, so the treatment is always, always, always personalized. Then there has to be, as I said, parental education. So there are group sessions for parents education. Parent के education के लिए group sessions होते हैं. ट्रीटमेंट हमेशा पर्सनलाइज्ड होता है. बच्चे के इंडिविजुअल असेसमेंट टेस्ट इंडिविजुअल होते हैं. हर बच्चे के टेस्ट क्योंकि अलग अलग होते हैं, इसलिए टेस्ट के कॉस्ट को इसके अंदर जोड़ पाना ये पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्योंकि टेस्ट ही सबके फर्क होते हैं, राइट? सो इन treatment is personalized. Parental education happens, which happens in a group, and there are parental community. We prepare a separate WhatsApp group for paid members, for paid parents, wherein Dr. Ashwini and the entire team is there to guide you on a real-time basis. और आपस में coordinate बहुत सारी चीजें आप एक दूसरे से सीखते समझते भी हो. We call this a 4-pillar treatment by and large. Okay, so this is understood. Should I proceed? Yes or no? Any questions here? Okay, fair enough. So we call it a 4-pillar treatment by and large. Okay, so there are 4 elements in our treatment. इसको बहुत अच्छे से समझिएगा. Anybody has a question, please go ahead and ask. आएंगे, we are coming to test Varun, don't worry. So the first element is diet, which is what Dr. Ashwini discussed with you. Now, diet is not the treatment, right? Diet is preparing the environment in which treatment could be effective. डाइट की बेसिस पे आप एडिशनल नेगेटिविटी शरीर के अंदर नहीं डाल रहे हो, which impedes the treatment. So from that perspective, diet is important, but diet is not a complete solution, or diet is not even the primary solution, right? But it is a very significant pillar on which the treatment is based. Okay, so diet helps prepare the environment in which treatment could be effective. For some people, diet alone could be a resolution, but for most people, diet cannot make a complete recovery. It may not happen. It's similar to, you know, the level of recovery you would get from external therapies. जो external therapy से मदद मिल सकती है, तो मिलती भी है, लगभग उस तरह का comparison आप कर सकते हैं, although these are very, very different things. The second thing is environmental changes. So we need to modify and mold nature towards healing of your child's body. So whether it is, we gave you a few examples of sunlight and water and grounding and radiation and all that. So some examples are given to you जिससे बच्चे का healing शरीर के अंदर का शुरू हो सके. But उसके अलावा भी बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. There are so many dozens of things that we teach you during the program, so that you can mold nature's elements for your child's natural healing and recovery. Okay, so environmental changes helps your child's healing in a natural way to the extent it is possible. However, in almost all cases, most cases, this may not be enough. So we need to go for testing. We'll discuss testing very shortly. So we need to go for testing, and we need to understand the exact problems or challenges that your child is having, and basis that intervention needs to be there in place. When we are talking about intervention, we are primarily talking about precise supplementation. अब ये supplementation क्या होता है? This supplementation, if you really have to compare, क्योंकि लोग पूछते हैं कि आयुर्वेदिक है कि होम्योपैथिक है कि एलोपैथिक है, आयुर्वेदिक है कि एलोपैथिक है supplementation. This supplementation does not fall under these categories. These are nutraceuticals. But आपको वाकई में अगर comparison करना ही है, so these are plant extract. These do not have chemicals. Okay, किसी तरह के chemicals नहीं होते हैं. ये plant extracts ही हैं. So you can potentially compare it with, let's say, some form of naturopathic supplementation. However, it does not fall under the category of, so it cannot have any kind of side effects. Since these are plant extracts, there are no side effects. In cases wherein there are infections identified, there could be homeopathy or allopathic drugs getting involved for a small little period. थोड़े समय के लिए होम्योपैथी या एलोपैथी की ड्रग्स इन्वॉल्व हो सकती है 4 से 6 हफ्ते के लिए, for specifically infections, not for brain. Okay, but mainly it's about supplementation, precise supplementation. And then there are a bunch of internal therapies for overall healing of the body. Now, these internal therapies itself, they fall under three categories. Light or sound therapies, they emit certain frequencies to basically release the right kind of hormones and enzymes in a hyperactive child and fidgety child and OCD child and depressed child and all that. It helps tremendously. इसमें कुछ नहीं करना. You don't have to purchase many expensive things. We help you understand the frequency which you can play from simple devices and light instruments and all that. छोटे मोटे bulb and all that. वो आराम से आप घर में कर सकते हो. We teach you what is required for your child. Then there is microcurrent therapy, which helps in reactivating certain neural pathways. It helps in cognitive ability, जो बहुत लोग पूछ रहे थे कल. So cognitive issues, learning skills, and also in social skills. Then we have quantum energy and scalar energy, which works on the principle of quantum entanglement. Brain emits certain brain waves. So make certain calculations. We have a process. We make certain calculations for your child, and basis that we give you certain concoctions. कुछ बच्चे को कुछ drops पिलानी पड़ती है to allow natural healing to happen, to unclog certain pathways, and overall provides a wonderful recovery for your child. So this is not available in India. We have brought this to India through our collaboration from the US organizations. Okay, so all of this is there. Is this understood? Should I proceed? Yes or no? Okay, what part, Zakir? So in short, there are 4 elements to the treatment. One is diet, which prepares the environment. Second is environmental changes, which allows your body to heal naturally to the extent possible. Third is intervention, which is primarily on supplements, precise supplementation. These are natural plant extracts, so they cannot have any side effects. For any kind of infection, they could be homeopathy or allopathic drugs getting involved. Then there are internal therapies which fall under these categories. For none of these internal therapies, you have to go anywhere or bring or ask anybody to come to your place. We teach you, we guide you online, and from your comfort of home itself, you implement under our guidance. कि आपको आपके बच्चे के लिए क्या करना. Okay, now can I proceed? Microcurrent, it provides very small. We lend out a device to you for a little bit. It provides certain kind of electrical impulses to very short, very small charges, which trigger neural activity in the brain. Okay, so that is how it is. Nusrat, आप रुकिएगा, मैं दोबारा से एक्सप्लेन करूंगा जब लोगों के सवाल जवाब हो जाते हैं. आप रुकिएगा, रिकॉर्डिंग वैसे भी मिलेगी, बट विल डिस्कस. हिंदी में बताऊंगा मैं दोबारा से. अगर वैसे तो हिंदी में बताया ही है, बट ध्यान से सुनिए, आपको सब समझ आएगा. हिंदी में हर चीज बता रहा हूँ. नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोसेस. अब इसकी प्रोसेस क्या है? So first of all, we need to understand your child. Okay, so that's obvious. So for that to happen, we need to collect a lot of information from you. So we give you a Google online form which has 90 plus question. 90 से ज़्यादा सवाल है. एक ऑनलाइन गूगल का फॉर्म आपको मिलता है. उसमें बच्चे की पूरी पैदाइश से लेके your mother's condition at the time of birth, whatever happened at the time of birth, and an entire relevant health history. पूरी जर्नी बच्चे की हम कलेक्ट करते हैं. All relevant tests and reports and all prognosis, all diagnosis, prescriptions, all of this you share with us, previous tests and reports. Basis that we recommend you certain specialized lab tests. We'll talk about those lab tests. Okay, you conduct those through our assistance. You get those lab tests conducted. ये टेस्ट आप कहीं से भी करा सकते हो. इसमें प्राइमरी जो अलग सा टेस्ट होता है, ज्यादातर टेस्ट तो कमोडिटाइज्ड है. They are available everywhere. But there is one specialized test for which there is a kit. So that kit can be couriered to you at your home itself. We'll separately talk about tests. Okay. So when the lab tests come back to us, uski basis pe aur purani history ki basis pe we prepare a detailed root cause analysis for you, which is nothing else but 25 to 30 pager or 20 to 35 pager report about your child. These are the issues with your child. This is how we are going to intervene, and this is the kind of recovery you can expect in such and such time frame. तो वो ट्रीटमेंट प्रोटोकॉल आपके साथ में डिस्कस किया जाता है एंड योर ट्रीटमेंट कमेंसेस, आपका ट्रीटमेंट शुरू होता है उसकी बेसिस पे, ठीक है। सो यहां तक इज इट क्लियर? द प्रोसेस इज इट क्लियर? यस और नो? नहीं शर्बनी, IBS is a very specific issue. ADHD is also a specific issue relatively. So it may not be only IBS, it could be IBS, it could be infections, it could be gut dysbiosis, it could be heavy metal toxicity, it could be hormones and enzymes. 10,000 issues are there. It's not necessarily only because of IBS. Okay, so this is the process. Now, specifically about the tests, there are 3 categories of tests that we recommend. Okay, so we have tried to make it, Dr. Ashwini has made it very, very simple for parents to follow and understand. The second test, which you can see as gut dysbiosis test, is a mandatory test. So all of you parents must go for this test immediately. So this test helps us understand about infections. It helps us understand about leaky gut. It helps us understand about nutrition, whether it is reaching your cellular level. It helps us understand about detox pathways, detoxification ho raha hai sahi se ya nahi. So it helps us understand about all of these issues. Okay, so this is the kit based test. ये आपके घर पे kit आता है through a courier, and all you need to do, just like diabetes, small little needle के through puncture किया finger पे, nail पे या heel पे etc. and take some 2-3 drops of blood and put it on a blotting paper, जैसे डायबिटीज में कागज के ऊपर ब्लड डालते हैं उसी तरह. Same thing with urine, 2-3 drops of blood or 2-3 drops of urine on a blotting paper, let it dry for a couple of hours. The kit is prepared and a courier is sent to a lab based out of Navi Mumbai. There is only one lab by the name Preventine in the country which has the ability to interpret these tests in a perfect manner. Okay, so this is a gut dysbiosis test which is mandatory. The cost of this test is around 4,200 rupees. Okay, so that is the cost of the test. Okay, the second test is for some parents it might be advised basis what is required and so on. Now this varies to help us further understand about your child organ functioning. जैसे किसी ने thyroid के बारे में पूछा था in one of the questions. So thyroid or liver or hormones or enzymes or nutrition or inflammatory markers, some additional blood tests or urine tests could be required. We have labs which are associated with us, which can help you get it conducted from your home. Sample could be collected, or you can get it done on your own also. So that is up to you. We'll recommend basis who requires what. Then for some parents, so now this cost blood test cost could vary anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000-4,000 rupees, depending upon who requires what. Sometimes it may not be required also. Okay. Then there is a hair mineral test, which takes a sample of your child's hair, and it helps us understand about toxins, whether they are present inside the body, heavy metal toxicity, and also mineral imbalances. This test is relatively expensive, but it is not recommended to all the parents only because of cost issues. तो उस वजह से we recommend only to wherein it is necessarily required for not more than 10, 15, 20% of parents. Okay, so this test we send it to Poland. The cost of this specific test is 7,600 rupees. There is an alternate available in the country. Thyroid also gets this test done, which is around 4,000 rupees. But the Poland test is much more detailed, so we tend to prefer that particular test. Now, basis all of these tests, so the overall cost of these tests could vary anywhere between 4,000 to 12,000-13,000 rupees, depending upon who requires what. Okay, so basis that treatment protocol is devised about your child. Okay, जो आपको कॉल में explain किया जाता है. Is this understood? Yes or no? Should I proceed? Awesome. Okay, so basis that personalized diet is there, supplements is there, which is completely has to be iterated again and again. तो कोई भी एक स्पेसिफिक ट्रीटमेंट का प्रोटोकॉल हमेशा नहीं चलता है, चेंजेस होते ही रहते हैं. बच्चे की सिचुएशन इवॉल्व होती है एवरी मंथ, एवरी सेकंड वीक, थर्ड वीक. the child's situation would change and evolve. The child would improve or change. The child would change in many, many ways. So accordingly, not just supplement, but also diet and several other things have to be changed. So it is an iterative process, and it is a process in which continuous tracking is essentially required. So वो हम करते हैं. We give you each of you parents are going to get a clinic number, whosoever gets enrolled. So through that, you are connected with a team of doctors, Dr. Rashwini, team of dietitians, and also an individual connect to guide you in the entire process. जिनको आप एक WhatsApp message के through कभी भी reach out कर सकते हो. And then they would respond to you and connect with you and guide you as and when or howsoever required. Okay, courier के through courier Vijaya. The sample come back to us through courier. Because the team is there to coordinate. So lab team is there, they'll coordinate with you. Okay, so that is there. So okay, so I hope this is understood. Now, in order for you to sustain all of these gains, you have to understand the whys and hows and how-tos of whatever needs to be done. उसके लिए knowledge sessions होते हैं. We'll talk about how many and when and what not. There is advisory, which is 1:1. There is continuous WhatsApp group support, and there is reassessment, as we spoke yesterday and today, towards the end of 3 months, so that we can recalibrate and reinitiate whatever remains with your child. Okay, उस हिसाब से रहता है. And for education, there are sessions happening, and there is a community that we formulate for paid members, so that they can be continuously and regularly guided upon wherever they are and whatever challenges or whatever situation they are into. उस हिसाब से रहता है. Okay, so talking about sessions, so we have 8 educational sessions. These are live sessions, mostly conducted by Dr. Rajwini. So these are weekly sessions in the first month and bi-weekly sessions in month 2 and month 3. हफ्ते में एक बार पहले महीने में, 2 हफ्ते में एक बार दूसरे और तीसरे महीने में सारे लाइव सेशंस होते हैं. सारे शाम को 7 बजे होते हैं और सारे की रिकॉर्डिंग्स आपके पास में. यू हैव द रिकॉर्डिंग्स, यू कीप इट फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम. आपके पास में रिकॉर्डिंग हमेशा रहती है. ये सारे सेशंस के टॉपिक्स हैं, different kinds of topics that we deal with. As I said, the sessions are live, they are interactive, the recordings are there, and the resources are given to you. So naturally, you can utilize this program for a variety of purposes. अब अगर by chance there are people who are from a professional background, doctors हैं या therapists हैं and so on, you can join it for an educational purpose. अगर आपको पूरी तरह से श्योरिटी नहीं है, you can join with an educational purpose and then convert it into a treatment, or you can start with a treatment, which is obviously what is recommended. So just to summarize, continuous support is there, real-time query resolution is there, and you have a phone number support. I wouldn't say 24/7. It is available up till 7 in the evening, and Sunday is off, but that support is continuous in nature. और ये आपके सेशंस भी होते हैं और सारे रिसोर्सेज कैसे क्या करना है, किस वजह से करना है, वो सब आपको चीजें लगातार शेयर करी जाती है. Okay, so the cost of this treatment is 16,000 rupees. It is a discounted fees available not for 2 but the next 3 days. अगले 3 दिन के लिए 16,000 की फीस है, वरना otherwise the program fees for 3 months is 20,000 rupees. This does not include the testing cost. Okay, टेस्टिंग की कॉस्ट इसमें शामिल नहीं है. इफ यू हैव 2 चिल्ड्रन देन द कॉस्ट इज नॉट इन द सेम फैमिली. एक्चुअली सिस्टर वाला चीज नहीं. इफ देयर आर सिबलिंग डिफरेंट हाउसहोल्ड्स देन द कॉस्ट इज 28,000 रुपीस. इफ देयर इज सिबलिंग्स, रियल सिबलिंग्स, एक ही फैमिली के अंदर है, द कॉस्ट फॉर 2 चिल्ड्रन इज 24,000. इफ यू वांट टू ट्राई इट फॉर 1 month and then convert it or extend it for the next 2 months, the cost for 1 month, wherein you can get the consultation, you can get the assessment done, you can get the test interpreted, and you can get the initial plan done, etc., etc. वो सब चीजों की cost है 8,000 rupees. Okay, but then the next 2 months are at 12,000. So full program fees 8 plus 12, 20,000 rupees, which is also applicable for the next 3 days. Okay. Then the educational component, which does not have this assessment, which does not give you the form to fill in or assesses your child individually. It does not recommend your basically supplementation, etc., etc. Individualization नहीं है, But overall ये सारे sessions होते हैं, you are part of the same WhatsApp group level पे वही support मिलता है आपको. So you can start with an education and get it converted by paying the difference of 9,000 later on. That's also an option. So education is for people who are financially challenged, or who are not fully convinced, or people who are professional in this field and want to learn and help many more people. So for all those things, the cost applicable for the next 3 days is 7,000. Okay. So the program is commencing on 6th of May, which is a Saturday. So it's a Saturday's batch. सारे के सारे सेशंस आपके 7 बजे शाम को होंगे. The details to enroll, etc., would be shared in the WhatsApp group, I think, very shortly. So we'd like to open up for questions now. So make sure that you raise your hand just like yesterday. No, supplement costs are different for every child. So you can expect around 2,000 to 4,000 rupees typically. We don't sell you any supplements. We prescribe you supplements that you can buy from online, Amazon, iHerb, those kind of website. So online आपको purchase करने रहते हैं. It is not necessarily required to take therapies. So in case if therapies are not benefiting your child tremendously, you can drop them. But if therapies are helping your child, please continue with the therapies. But these are supplementary to each other, complementary to each other. They do not interfere with any of them. Okay, so we'll start taking up the questions now. Mr. Sumit, please go ahead, ask your question.
Yes, sir. So my question is about this full program. So what I have understood some part of it. So what I've understood so far is that we have got this program, which we can enroll for a child for 3 months, correct? And then there is a separate group which does not include of consultation, but it's a group support, which is a separate program, I believe.
No,
Right?
it's the same program, within the same program.
It's within the same program. So you have mentioned a price for that, right? 10,000 separately, and then
No, so 7,000. If you don't want to take individual consultation, only education, then the cost is 7,000.
okay,
If you're taking treatment, the educational part is within it. So
within
that's
it.
what we're talking
Agree. Perfect, sir. So now let's say now this initially you are just starting it for 3 months, correct? But I believe the overall treatment would take longer time, right? I mean, as you said, it takes at least 1 year.
Subscription plans for the subsequent 3 months are not 16, they are 9,000.
Okay, subsequent 3 months after this are 9,000. Is it so?
Correct.
Okay. I got your point. And so what is a typical average medicines cost? Just I'm saying like, okay, this is this treatment cost for 3 months, which we pay.
4,000, it sort of varies for individual monthly.
Yeah, kind of. And about these internal therapies, right? You mentioned that you would also send a device. And so is this all inclusive, or is it an additional cost involved?
No, for a limited period, no. But for an extended period, if you want to continue and take further guidance, we help you get associated with experts who do that. And then you can discuss and negotiate. So we initiate the exposure to it. We help you understand whether it is helping or gaining and not. And then you can proceed depending upon your understanding, recovery, your comfort, all that.
So in first 3 months, we would have, I mean, that's not chargeable as I understand it correctly. The internal therapies, which you mentioned about the microcurrent and
the scalar energy, quantum energy healing, etc., all of this is exposed to you. The more deeper you go into it for a prolonged period, extending beyond 3 months, then probably there could be charges depending upon how deeper you want to go with that.
Deeper you want to go, but not in the part of initial 3 months. Correct. And my last question is like tentatively the entire program, to the best of your experience so far, has been like 1 year to 1.5 years, right? I believe
it depends. So it cannot be predicted irrespective of the age or extent of complexity. Then they recover in a different manner. So basically, what we expect is anywhere between, depending upon, again, the younger the child, 2 years, is much faster. So anywhere between 6-7 months to around 12, 13, 14 months.
Okay, sir. And sir, about the lifestyle or dietary changes, which needs to be followed in this, right? Is it very easy with the parents to actually follow the routine, or like is it something out of the box that we have to do an explicit cooking?
Way more easier than the condition itself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, sir. I guess there are other people in the queue as well. I'll park my questions later. Thank you so much.
Mr. PK, please go ahead.
Yeah, this side Pranali. My question is to Dr. Ashwini. At the starting, I was asking about that genetic abnormalities or chromosomes. How the functional medicine can deal with this? Like in a test, it's clearly shown that certain part of the genes is missing, and then from that missing genes, the brain is developed. So it might possible that certain part of the brain is not developed properly, or some gray area, I don't know, some medical terms is there. So if certain part of the brain is underdeveloped, then how functional medicines can help in normalizing the function, brain function, or normalizing the behavior of the child?
So, madam, first of all, we have to understand not everything is caused by the genetic anomalies. Okay, genes can code for certain proteins. If it is such a problem that because of that genes, there's an underdevelopment of the brain, is hardly the case. Okay. Now, coding of the protein is one thing. The raw materials that are required to build those proteins is also required. Okay, right conditions are required. Okay, so 99% of the problems that the healthcare human are facing are not because of genetics. Only 1% might be. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, if there is genetics is not healthy, you cannot change genetics, but you still can make the body much healthy, conducive, so that it can function better. Let's say there's a Maruti car and a BMW car. Both have a different engine, but they're okay to perform their own individual capacities. But then if you maintain the bad environment in Maruti and the BMW, both will crash. So all I'm saying, I'm not changing genes at all. Okay, there's no way for us to do that. All I'm saying, let's create the best of the conditions for these, whatever the genes are there, they can work to their best of the abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the follow-up question, assurance. If we can go through this program, because we have tried so many ways like homeopathy, Ayurveda, but none work until date.
So I think, madam, I'm almost 3 hours yesterday I spent. Today I'm sitting and spending time at, it should be my leisure time I'm spending with you, explaining your science, giving you all the possible details. Even let's say somebody reads 10, 20 books, they will not get this much concise information, and beyond that, though, I cannot put it on a document that is going to happen. Really, I mean, as a medical professional, my responsibility to give you the right information. The way that it will be done, I'm sure that if we create right conditions for this body will respond, because we are supposed to be healthy.
Yeah.
And then that is enough. And anyways, we are not going for a 1-year program or 3-year program. We're just asking 3 months. That too, we will test the child thoroughly to see what all problems are there. Accordingly, we'll do the fixing. Okay, very, very methodologically, we will work ahead. So I think there's nothing to lose. First of all, you will only gain. You will only gain. But yes, we have the data. I presented you the data also. I think how much change in majority. When I say majority, my majority is not 50%. My majority is more than 85%. So I think this is good enough as a surety also.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much.
Ms. Suchita, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm audible, right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, so my question is, you said the batch will start on 6th of May, right?
Yes.
So basically I'll be traveling and will be settling in US as of now. Maybe we're flying on 10th. So it seems that the main courier going there, coming back, all those things will be a big issue because nothing is really happening fast. 6th if we are starting with all these things. So I don't see anything that we can complete even the basic blood test if they are required before that. So is there anything that we can do earlier if it's possible?
So the advice, ma'am, would be that you enroll as soon as you can, so that the testing can happen peacefully while you are here, and all the reports and everything is prepared before you leave, well within the period that you leave. So if that happens, then basically it doesn't matter, because once you get settled and you start whenever you start, so basically you don't have to time yourself in terms of howsoever you take your treatment. You can begin at any point, you can stop at any point. If you take a break, we provide you extended time, we provide that level of support. We are not hard bent on day 1 and day 90.
Okay. And my second question is about the supplements. So, like, what kind of supplements are these? Because previously also we tried quite a number of kind of therapies and stuff, and in some of them they had suggested supplements, but in most of the cases it has been a negative effect on my child. So I'm quite skeptical with that.
Suchita, unfortunately, a lot of time, lot of practitioners might give certain supplements. They might give you a detox and a die-off reaction, but they don't tell you what is happening. Probably they're not even aware of what is happening. And you become skeptical about it. Okay. Now, if there is an infection, there's a toxin, it has to be moved out of the body if we have to improve the child. And as that happens, there might be some, reactionary. This is well established in literature. Detox and a die-off reaction. What kind of supplement? If B complex is low, will give B complex. If magnesium is required, we give magnesium. Zinc is required. Selenium is required. Protein is required. Lipoic acid is required. NAC is required. Whatever is as per the problems and as per the symptoms, whatever might be low in the body. Supplement, nothing special. Whatever is low on the body is required about the body to have a proper functioning is what as a support system we give.
So you are saying that whatever you'll be suggesting will be basis on the blood tests and the reports that we'll have in hand?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. So I'll just quickly try to enroll and get back.
Sure.
Thank you.
Ms. Romi, please go ahead.
Sir?
Hello.
Sir,
Yeah, Romi ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, out of the 4 pillars that you mentioned as a part of the treatment, the very first was diet, if I'm not wrong. The problem with my child is she doesn't let me feed her anything other than milk. She doesn't even take water. She's so reluctant. So, how does it work with such kids?
So, Romy, let's understand one thing. Okay, this human body is designed in such a way. If I'm hungry for 3-4 days, I'll eat whatever is presented to me.
Right.
I'll only throw tantrums when I know I cry, I get what I want. If I have all the luxury in the world, I will call for 5 different dishes. I'll only choose what I like to eat. Rest I will put them into waste. But if I don't have money, I don't have resources, I'm hungry for 3 days, I'll eat what is presented to me. This is how this body is actually, so for life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of, not your child, lot of the kids, they have this issue. They're very, very picky.
She's just 11 months, so I don't force much.
So now,
that's, yeah.
So Romy, now let's understand. If we have to improve, we have to make a change.
Right.
First, let's say you stop the dairy milk, you can switch to goat milk, you can switch to camel milk, you can switch to almond milk, you can switch to coconut milk.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if we have to improve the microbiome, the microbes in the gut, we have to feed the different fibers. Fiber will come either from the food, fruits or veggies or the healthy millets and all that.
Correct.
So this has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't say that overnight you change everything. There will be a
Sure.
time frame that you would need to make the change. But if we have to make a change to their health, we have to make these changes. There's no easy way out. There's no really easy way out. It's difficult, quite challenging. But then this disease itself is very challenging. If we don't fix it, it is something that will get with us for a long period of time. It's not going anywhere. So likewise, kindly, anybody who is planning for this program, वो अपने they should come with the full force that I want to fix my child.
I'm sure, yes. With that thought only we are coming, and definitely I expect that I'll be guided to, with the right kind of information, how to feel like if she's not supportive, or how to do it, how to overcome this challenge. So I think I'll get a support on that, advice on that.
So we will do what is best, Romy, from our side. But again, I'm saying at the end of the day, you are with the child. Okay,
Right.
you have to implement. I can only
Of
tell you
course.
this: don't do this, do this slowly, do this, all those basic, that.
Yeah, I understand that.
But ultimately, lot of kids, not just your child, lot of these kids are very, very picky.
Mhm.
Only way is that we let them be for some time. Let them be hungry for some time. Now today problem is we never even allow the hunger even to come. We have given by the doctor after every 2 hours we should feed. We go
Correct.
by the timelines. We're not going by the hunger.
Correct.
And the child is all very, very picky. Let the hunger set in, and which is required for all of us, not for the child only. Okay. If hunger gets into our body, it's good for us, really good for us. We can eat when it is required. And if we stop this foolish idea of eating by the time, not by the hunger, we will be, eating by the hunger is really, really healthy for human beings. So I think you will be able to overcome, Romy, with,
Surely. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.
Ms. Roy, please go ahead.
जी सर, सर मैंने तो 3 महीने का ये कोर्स किया हुआ है, तो मैं नेक्स्ट कंटिन्यू करना चाहती हूँ, तो मेरा 9,000 ही लगेगा ना सर अगर मैं एनरोल करूँ तो? हेलो।
हाँ, तो मैडम आप मतलब कंटिन्यूटी में आप आयुष से बात कर लीजिए, तो डेफिनेटली आप एनरोल कर सकते हैं। तो आप आयुष से सेपरेटली बात कर लीजिएगा।
और सर आपने कल मुझे बोला था कि ओमेगा 3 और चारकोल लेने के लिए, मेरी अभी 2.5 महीने की बेटी है, तो वो उसको खिलाने के लिए बोला था या मुझे लेने के लिए बोला था सर? मुझे कंफ्यूज।
ठीक है। आइडिया क्या था, मैं क्या कहना चाहता, वैक्सीन के अंदर कुछ चीजें ऐसी होती हैं विच इज अनवांटेड, है ना?
जी।
और चारकोल इज अ बाइंडर, एक्टिवेटेड चारकोल। आपको मालूम है, बच्चे को पहले भी दिया होगा आपने। तो ये जब कोई
सर
चीज
उसका नहीं
टॉक्सिक,
था, उसका प्लान में चारकोल नहीं था सर।
अच्छा ठीक है। तो थोड़ा सा मतलब आधा ग्राम, नहीं तो लेट्स से कैप्सूल का 1/4 अगर वैक्सीन लगता है, पहले वो बॉडी में जाएगा बिफोर इट सेटल्स इन द सिस्टम, है ना? तो अगर हम चारकोल दे देते हैं उस समय पे, कुछ बाइंडर दे देते हैं, होता क्या है कि एटलीस्ट जो अनवांटेड चीजें हैं वो चारकोल के साथ बाइंड करके बाहर आ जाएंगे।
अच्छा,
तो जितना नेगेटिव इफेक्ट किसी चीज का होना था, प्रॉब्ली वो रिड्यूस हो जाएगा। दूसरा, इम्यून सिस्टम, जो वैक्सीन का नेचर है, वो इम्यून सिस्टम को शॉक करता है, ओके, अलोंग विद द एंटीजन रिस्पॉन्स आल्सो। तो अगर हम ऑलरेडी उनको ओमेगा पिला के रखे हैं, मतलब इन्फ्लेमेशन ऑलरेडी कम है, तो नेगेटिव इफेक्ट होने का चांसेस कम हो जाता है। नॉट दैट आई एम सेइंग कि इट विल बोथ फेस पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव, मैं ऐसा कुछ कंक्लूड नहीं कर रहा हूँ। आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू गिव यू सम टिप्स टू सेफगार्ड।
तो सर बच्चे को ओमेगा मतलब कितना अमाउंट में दें, और क्या जिंजिनो फिश ऑयल जो पहले बच्चे को सजेस्ट वही वाला दें?
कोई भी दे दीजिए, अच्छा क्वालिटी का ओमेगा, ठीक है। स्टार्ट विद आई थिंक half a gram to 1 gram। योर चाइल्ड इज वेरी यंग, तो जितना कैप्सूल में आता है उतना सा पिलाइए एक बार में, आधा ग्राम से 1 ग्राम।
और चारकोल से कितना बोले आप?
चारकोल भी आई थिंक 200 mg।
200 mg।
एक कैप्सूल में 500 mg आता है, ऐसा मानिए। उसका कैप्सूल का लेट्स से 1/3।
तो ये चारकोल का मुझे सर ठीक से पता नहीं है, इसका मतलब कोई मतलब दवाई का।
ठीक है, आप क्लिनिक के नंबर पे बात करिए एक बार ना, वहाँ आपके पास नंबर तो होगा ना?
नहीं, क्लिनिक का नंबर तो सर नहीं है।
आपको गाइड करूंगा मैं।
ओके
ग्रुप में एक बारी मेरा नंबर मैं लिख देता हूँ, आप इस पे कॉल कर लीजिएगा।
ओके सर,
ग्रुप चैट में लिख दी। मिस्टर वरुण, प्लीज गो अहेड।
Yeah, sir. Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah, evening, sir. Okay, sir. My question is that if we have some doubts about maternal grandfather is having some psychological issues, then also the line of treatment is same. If that is the reason.
मैं नहीं समझ पाया what is it
सर
maternal
मतलब
grandfather?
मेरे मतलब नाना को, बच्चे के नाना को मैटरनल साइड से अगर कोई साइकेट्रिक इश्यूज हैं पहले से फैमिली में, तो उस केस में भी हम ये मान सकते हैं कि एट टाइम्स इट इज कंसीडर्ड दैट इट इज हेरिडिटरी और पिछला कुछ हिस्ट्री है, इस वजह बच्चे के साथ ऑटिज्म का कोई कंसर्न है, तब भी लाइन ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट हमारा सेम ही है।
लाइन ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट सेम रहेगा, वरुण। वेरी अनलाइकली कि नाना के वजह से बच्चे को कोई तकलीफ है, वेरी अनलाइकली।
ओके फाइन सर, नो इश्यूज, थैंक्स अ लॉट। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सर, मेरे बच्चे को थेरेपीज तो सूट नहीं किया था, बट अभी मैं होम्योपैथिक ट्रीटमेंट ले रहा हूँ। आपने कल क्लियर किया था, उसके साथ हम ये ट्रीटमेंट दोनों चीजें साइमल्टेनियसली चल सकती हैं। बट माय कंसर्न इज कि उन्होंने हमारे को स्कूलिंग के लिए मना किया है अभी स्ट्रिक्टली, और मे बी आप जब पर्सनली एनालाइज करेंगे देन यू विल बी नोइंग बेटर कि क्या कंसर्न है कि स्ट्रिक्टली स्कूलिंग मना है। बट जो हमारी कंसर्न है, जो बच्चे पीयर ग्रुप से सीख सकते हैं वो हमसे सीखना बहुत मुश्किल है, तो इस केस में हम पीयर ग्रुप का एक्सपोजर कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं सर?
देखिए, मेरा समझ, अगेन सर, हर किसी प्रैक्टिशनर का अपना समझ है, अपना अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, उसके हिसाब से डिसीजन लेते हैं। मेरे हिसाब से मैंने कल यही कहा था कि प्रेशर में नहीं बच्चा आना चाहिए। आप स्कूल में डालिए, थेरेपी में डालिए, कहीं भी डालिए, बच्चे को प्रेशर में नहीं आना चाहिए। इट शुड नॉट बिकम अ बर्डन।
हाँ, वो प्रेशर आता है सर, वो स्कूल जाने से भी उसको वो सेम प्रेशर आता है, सिमिलर प्रेशर आता है जो
अगर
उसको
पीयर ग्रुप
थेरेपी
है,
से
कोई
आता है।
ऐसा स्कूल है जहाँ पर ये प्रेशर नहीं है, बच्चों के साथ बच्चा घूम फिर रहा है, मजा कर रहा है, साथ में कुछ सीख रहा है, तो नो प्रॉब्लम। हम टीचर को बोल सकते हैं ना कि यार मेरे बच्चे को प्रेशर मत डालो, सिखाना सीख जाएगा, जब सीखेगा लेट देम बी इन द क्लास, है ना?
ओके फाइन सर, फाइन। वन मोर कंसर्न सर, अगर ये जो आपने अभी चार्जेस बताया दैट इज फॉर एजुकेशन एंड कंसल्टेशन, इसमें कोई सप्लीमेंट्स वगैरह का कॉस्ट इंक्लूडेड नहीं है, दैट इज ऑल सेपरेट, टेस्टिंग इज सेपरेट। हेलो
मिस्टर सीआर, प्लीज गो अहेड।
ओके सर, आपने वाटर के बारे में बताया था, कल भी आपने कुछ पीएच लेवल बोला था, अभी तो सन चार्ज वाटर एंड ऑल आपने बोला, तो अगर आप उसमें गाइड कर सके कि वाटर का हमें घर पे पीएच लेवल क्या रखना है। एंड सेकंड, मतलब बॉइल्ड वाटर भी हम दे सकते हैं, अगर उसके ऊपर आप एक, दैट इज माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, इफ यू कैन आंसर दैट।
देखिए ऐसा सर कि पीएच, बॉडी का पीएच लेट्स से 7.4 के अराउंड, 3.4, 7.4 के अराउंड है ना। एटलीस्ट जो भी हम पानी पिलाएं उससे ज्यादा पीएच का होना चाहिए। उससे कम पीएच का होगा तो बॉडी का इलेक्ट्रॉन स्टील करेगा वो, which will be acidic to the body, which is negative, very very negative to the system. तो एटलीस्ट 7.5-8 पीएच का पानी होना चाहिए।
ओके, तो सर बॉईल कर देते हैं तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि पीएच लेवल कुछ कम हो जाता है?
नहीं, बॉईल करने से फायदा क्या होगा आपको ये देखना है। बॉईल करने से कुछ इन्फेक्शियस माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म जो किल हो जाते हैं, बट देन बॉईल करने से अगर हैवी मेटल्स है, बॉईल करने से अगर टॉक्सिक केमिकल्स है, वो तो कुछ नहीं होगा उनका।
ओके।
पानी अगर आप शहर में रहते हो, किसी सिटी में रहते हो, तो आरओ और यूवी होना बेहतर है, ताकि उसको क्लीन कर लो।
ओके।
क्लीन करने के बाद एक प्रैक्टिस आप सन चार्जिंग कर सकते हो, उसके बाद वाटर आयनाइजर डाल सकते हो। वैसे बहुत सारे प्रैक्टिसेस हैं जो पानी को और मतलब उसका मेमोरी को एरेज करना है, उसको आयनाइज करना है, उसका पीएच को बेहतर करना है, उसको स्ट्रक्चरिंग को बेहतर करना है, एल्कलिनिटी बढ़ाना। तो द मल्टीपल थिंग्स दैट, एनीवेज एक सिंपल प्रैक्टिस के साथ चालू कर सन चार्ज कर लीजिए आरओ के बाद।
ओके, एंड सर गट डायग्नोसिस जो टेस्ट है, राइट, उसमें खाली वो 2-3 ब्लड डायबिटीज की तरह ही देने होते हैं या कुछ और होता है?
नहीं, एक 2 किट आते हैं, ब्लड ड्रॉप्स कुछ में जाएगा, कुछ में यूरिन जाएगा, दैट्स ऑल।
ओके ओके, ठीक है। और सर अभी है ना, मई मंथ में काफी ट्रैवल एंड ऑल रहने वाला है, तो व्हाट वुड यू सजेस्ट, अगर हमें एनरोल करना है तो मई मंथ से ही करें या जून मंथ से करें?
एक बार आयुष से बात कर लीजिए प्लीज इसके बारे में।
ओके, आयुष से बात कर लेंगे। और सर मेडिसिन, जैसे आपने
कभी भी आप एनरोल करो फटाफट, और उसके बाद में कहीं पे ब्रेक लेना या कुछ लेना है वो अकोमोडेशन हो जाता है, लेकिन टेस्टिंग वगैरह तो करा दो पहले।
ओके, ग्रेट ग्रेट। और सर मेडिसिन, जैसे आपने बोला कि जनरली रिकमेंड नहीं करते, अगर होता भी है तो कोई इन्फेक्शन होता है तो अपने कुछ रिकमेंड करते हैं, राइट? अदरवाइज इट इज ओनली सप्लीमेंट्स। right?
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. And just one more question, last question. Okay, sir, lacto brain and all हमारे डॉक्टर ने सजेस्ट किया था, तो वो कंटिन्यू रखना चाहिए क्या? उसके प्रॉस कौन से? वी कैन जस्ट प्लीज।
Not sure, sir. अगर आप उसका कंटेंट बता देंगे तो I might be able to answer. I don't know what is lactobrain. What does it include?
सर वही वो गट ब्रेन एक्सिस वो कुछ बोल रहे थे, तो लैक्टोबायलिसिस जो आती है अपने।
Okay, is it a probiotic? ठीक है, probiotic.
हाँ प्रीबायोटिक एंड प्रोबायोटिक दोनों लिखा हुआ है उस पे।
That's fine. अभी मेरे को स्पेसिफिक नहीं पता कौन सा स्पीशीज है, बट सेफली आप यूज कर सकते हैं उसको।
ओके ओके ओके, थैंक यू सर।
Miss Neelam, please go ahead. Neelam Bhatia ji, please go ahead, ma'am. Miss Neelam Bhatia, are you there, ma'am? Okay. Nidhi ji, please go ahead. Nidhi Singh.
हेलो हेलो।
You're audible.
हाँ जी, हाँ, ये मेरा बेटा 16 इयर्स ओल्ड है, तो ये मेडिसिन कितना हेल्पफुल होगी इसके लिए, ये मेरा क्वेश्चन था।
देखिए यदि बड़ा का अगर बच्चे का एज ज्यादा रहता है तो समय ज्यादा लग सकता है,
हाँ जी,
बट
हाँ जी,
स्टिल रिकवरी तो होगा। अगर बच्चा जल्दी 2-2.5-3 साल में हमारे पास आता, 4 साल में हमारे पास आता, हम सेफली कह सकते हैं कि ऑलमोस्ट क्लोज टू नॉर्मल रिकवरी हो सकता है। अगर थोड़ा बच्चा बड़ा है, बाय द टाइम प्रॉब्लम सेट्स इन बिग टाइम, है ना? लेकिन फिर भी अगर हमको रिकवरी होगा कि नहीं होगा, हाँ रिकवरी की तरफ जरूर बढ़ेंगे, अच्छे से रिकवरी होगा, लेकिन समय ज्यादा लग सकता है, टाइम ज्यादा लग सकता है, एफर्ट ज्यादा लग सकता है, क्योंकि 16 एज है जो काफी प्रॉब्लम सेटल हो जाते हैं, तो उसको हटाने को ही बहुत, इन्फेक्शन इतना गहरा हो जाता है कि उसको इन्फेक्शन को हटाने के लिए बहुत समय लग जाता है बच्चों में।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी। और एक और मेरे बेटे को एपिलेप्सी की प्रॉब्लम है, तो उसके भी मेडिसिन चल रही है, तो उसके साथ ही मेडिसिन चलेंगी?
यस यस, मेडिसिन चलेंगी, लेकिन वही अब आई थिंक कल भी मैंने बात किया था इसके बारे में। सीजर्स क्यों आता है? सीजर आता है क्योंकि इन्फ्लेमेशन है। अब इन्फ्लेमेशन को सप्रेस करने की दवाई दी गई है, एंटी एपिलेप्टिक ड्रग व्हिच इज ओके टू यूज व्हेन इट इज रिक्वायर्ड, बट देन वो एपिलेप्सी हो क्यों रहा है उसका कारण भी तो सॉल्व करना है।
जी जी जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी, ओके, थैंक यू।
Miss Nupur, please go ahead. Miss Nupur, you had a...
Yeah. Yes, I have a question. Good evening, sir. My son is 5 years old, and recently he's been diagnosed with autism, and ADHD is very hyperactive. My question is that when he was born, he had an undescended testicle, and he was supposed to have a surgery after 1 year, after 12 months, but before the surgery could happen, the doctor suggested that we should take an hormone injection. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So we gave that, we took the treatment that was suggested by the doctor, and thankfully the surgery was not required. He also had a hydrocele. But I just had this question in my mind, by that time only, that could that be a reason? Because for all the changes that happened in his body, because he was progressing, his milestones were on time, he was very social, he had started speaking before time, everything was going very normal up till the age of 1.5, or 1.5, but then slowly it started regressing.
So I think Nupur, it's very difficult for me to at least specifically comment on this part, okay, whether that hormone has led to the problem. But then there are so many other things also might have contributed, okay? Because I haven't seen or I haven't experienced this, that because of that this happened. It's a very, very rare cases. But then again, doesn't matter where it has come from, we still can make a recovery. Okay, that's what I can say with some level of surety.
Okay. And just one small question I had seen, like one of the parents was just talking about that the child is very reluctant. So my son is also not, he is a picky eater, But when it comes to medicines, it becomes like very, very difficult for me to feed him medicines because he has that kind of, I don't know whether it's fear or what is it. He doesn't take medicine. So these supplements that we are talking about, can it be like, can I disguise it in something? So what are they capsules or what
Some
kind of
of the
supplements?
tricks you can do, Nupur, but still they'll be better. Last time we were closing one of the batch, 19th batch, one of the parents, he says, it took me, one of the achievement that he sees in his child, of course, there are other improvements also. Now, after 3 months, he says, my child is able to take these medicines. Okay. It's a challenging task, but then for their own good, we have to keep doing, and eventually that becomes a habit. They know that they have to take it. Okay. Initially, there will be resistance for sure. You and me cannot take so many. Why would a poor child take? But then eventually, that becomes a habit. They understand it will happen. Either I do it, with all the force, or I just accept it. And eventually, you see that over 1 month and 1.5 month things. Yes, you can put it into food. You can put it here and there. Those things, that can
Yeah, so that can be done, no, with these supplements.
Yeah.
Okay, that will, make the process more easy for me. That's it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Neelam, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, doctor. I would actually like to check with you on my son is, he's in the spectrum, he's got autism, he's got ADHD, but yeah, he's 18. Now, my concern is he's getting mouth ulcers every month, almost every other month he gets mouth ulcers.
Yes.
It's been happening for a couple of years. So, and this is the time only, like first time in January, we did his endoscopy and colonoscopy. And the doctor just told me he has got inflammation in the stomach. So I was just relating to your, I think what you were telling yesterday, because he had polyps in the colon also. That is about many years back in 2013, 14. That time he had done a colonoscopy, we removed it because he got blood in the stool. But now the mouth ulcers, which I was, even after the inflammation, and I asked the doctor, so what can we do? What can be done? So he just gave me a gastric medicine. So give him the, in the empty stomach in the morning. But my son has a lot of sugar.
Even more dangerous. Okay, I think all of you parents, many of you might be taking antacids. It's just a bad choice, extremely bad choice. Now I tell you why it is. First of all, we need enough stomach acid to digest. If we don't digest the food becomes very, very poisonous to our own self. Okay. Second, these are most of them are proton pump inhibitors. Now they're not specific proton. That they will not only block the pump in the stomach, they will also block the proton pump in the mitochondria. Every cell has a mitochondria. Brain has a mitochondria. Heart cells has a mitochondria. Okay, so it's just quite a problematic thing. Now, if ulceration is happening, polyps are happening, there's a constant inflammation. Inflammation is, like you said, colonoscopies and endoscopies show some inflammation. Inflammation can be triggered by the certain foods that we're eating, can be triggered by the infections that are there. I'm sure there's a fungal infection. I'm 100% sure it's a fungal infection. Now, you cut down some of the polyps, it will come back.
Okay.
Until we remove the source of that constant trigger of the problem is not going anywhere.
Yeah, because he craves sugar too much and he eats sugar.
Not the fungus is 100%. Craving is not because he wants it. The craving is because the fungus wants the sugar. Until you clean the fungus, the sugar craving will not go. And sugar will also feed the fungus more toxic metabolites, plus the metabolic function and diabetes. And a lot of these kids, unfortunately, a lot of these kids have sugar.
Yeah, we have just done his blood test. A lot of things have come: pre-diabetes, high cholesterol. His muscle mass is low. Creatine is low. He's on psychiatric medicine. So magnesium is low. I was really insisting the doctor saying, no need to do it. I said, no, just do his magnesium test. Magnesium is low. So when you're saying, when you're saying fungus is the reason, so we need to take the tablets for the fungus to clear, or we should stop the sugar. That only will help us to clear the.
So now it's a very fungal infection, parasitic infections are very extremely tough infections. And unfortunately, medical system is not prepared to handle that. They don't even know whether it's a problem or not, first of all. Okay.
Correct.
For them, it's not even a problem first time. But it's a tough infection. Now, you have to give a lot of sunlight to clean up the infection. You have to have the good diet, hydrate the body so the immune system working well. Then you have to do the cleaning. For that, we might use a combination of herbs and combination of pharmaceuticals in the safer way. Then you have to use probiotics. If heavy metals are there, then also they keep the immune system very, very down regulated. We have to remove the heavy metals from the body so that the immune system can get better and can fight the fungal infection. So it's quite a process even to deal with these problems. But then it has to be done. You cannot get away without doing it.
Doctor, but I just want to ask about this one. Can we get probiotics from the food instead of giving them supplements?
Now, let's say you make curd. Curd is a probiotic. Probiotic means my species are there, but you don't know which species are there. You take a culture, put it into milk and leave it and it ferments and you don't know which is there. Now, when infections are already very, very high, you cannot give them random probiotics. You have to give specific probiotics. Until the infection is out, you cannot play around.
Okay, so from the blood test, we can come to know which is the infection, which is the fungal infection we have in the body.
So there are level of testing to be done. If we need to know which kind of fungus infections are there, then we have to do mycotoxins. India, we don't have that facility. Probably we can send a sample to US. Okay. So again, the level of testing we can do microbiome, we can do organic acid testing, we can do mycotoxins, a lot of different levels. We start with the basic, whatever minimally required to start the treatment. But then accordingly, as we move forward, if required, we can go into a little more advanced testing.
Doctor, as you told, if the diet is improved, it will get better. Things will get better because my son also has anal fissure. He has been recently itching in his back. So got to know he has anal fissure. Anal fissure is like hemorrhoids, right? So it's all because of the diet, which I understand now. Doctor, when you're talking about diet, are you talking about vegetarian diet? You should not eat non-veg because I'm a pure vegetarian. But he has learned to eat chicken all from the school.
I'm not anti-veg. I'm not pro and anti. I'm myself a vegetarian, but it's okay if somebody eats non-vegetarian. All I say that at least eat the good quality. Don't have a meat which is loaded with pesticides and loaded with antibiotics. And a lot of these animals, when they are farmed, they're fed with antibiotics. Their muscles will have antibiotic.
Right.
It's such unfortunate the way industry runs.
Right, doctor. Doctor, you had mentioned on one more, let's want to ask you two more questions. How do you build the muscle mass? When you say creatine level is low, it's because of the muscle mass, right? Muscle mass in the proteins or something? Is it because of that?
Yeah, less proteins.
Yeah, okay. He's eating a lot of white rice.
You might be feeding him proteins, but he's not digesting his body doesn't get what it needs from the food because digestion is not happening. Digestion needs enough stomach acid. If you give antacids, the digestion will never happen. If you don't have enough healthy microbes, digestion will never happen. If you have infectious, pathogenic, fungal or bacterial infections, then also digestion will not happen. So digestive process has to be improved so that food can become us. Just simply eating does not mean that it is getting to our body.
I understand because my son eats a lot of white rice. Lots means I understand what you're saying. Doctor, one last question I want to ask: how do you recharge the water? You had mentioned the sun, just a normal water. Just keep it in the sunlight for 3 hours. Is that enough? Or
minimum 3 hours? Yes, you can put it extended use, but minimum at least 3 hours. RO water, because most of the cities has a contaminated water. I mean, we have polluted our water, we have polluted our air, we have polluted our food chain. We have not left anything for our own good,
So how much water can we have? Like if it's the sun charged water, we can't have throughout the day, right? So how much quantity?
As much as you want, as much as the body needs. For adult, 2.5, 3 liters of liquids that is required. But then a lot of these kids are very, very dehydrated. They might be drinking excess water because of the
My son doesn't like water. He doesn't drink water. He doesn't want water.
Then increase the salt intake and put them under sunlight.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I put little salt in the water. You mean to say, doctor? Little salt in the water and put in the sunlight?
That will increase the cravings for the water.
Because he loves salt a lot. He even licks the salt. I don't know why he licks the salt.
The deficiencies are there, madam.
Oh, okay, doctor. Understood. Fine out. Thank you so much.
Ms. Vijaya, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. My son is 8 years old, and we came to know that he has this ASD problem when he was around 5 years. Before it's to that, he was going into a regular schooling, and then during COVID, we were not able to manage him sitting for long hours, having online classes. So the last 2 years, he completely left with academic performances gone down, and we've been like shuffling from school to school, finding out what will be best app for him. And as a parent, we got confused what is going to be his future. Is it rectifiable, or is it going to be like struggle? Is he going to be an independent person? All these issues arise, and we really got scared, and we approached a psychiatrist, and we got a few IQ tests done for him. It is typically, the summary came out saying that he's a normal kid, but he needs some kind of occupational therapy and a few other therapies like behavioral issue. This is what. And after cutting down few diet, that like late dinners and having cutting down of maida, all those things, we see quite good improvement in terms of eye contact and all those things. So for me, what is the best thing that you advise after going through all the tests? If I enroll in this program, after going through the test, and if his toxic level, I understand after attending the last 2 days of your workshop, diet plays a major role for these type of kids. So we, as a parent, we need to be more responsible what we are giving to them and what they put into their mouth. So in future, if we maintain a balanced diet, and it's easy, is there a way for him to go and attend a regular classes and easy? Is there any hope for as a parent?
Absolutely. See, Vijaya, you are doing a great job. First of all, I think if you yourself understand the problem and you get onto the right path, I'm telling you, nothing can stop from your child's recovery. Okay, it has to happen. It has to happen. Okay, your child will be independent. If you are committed, it has to. See, let's understand, just forget about the medical science for a moment. This world, this universe in design in such a way. Okay, you want it so crazily, it will happen for you.
Yeah.
More than anything, why me and you spending hours and hours with parents who give so much science. Ultimately, idea behind that, you start thinking that there's a possibility for my child. We don't want you to learn the science, but at least this will create a path to your child that there's a possibility. That is good enough. That is enough for you to seek the right advice, do what is needed, and you will have the outcome.
Thank you, sir. And the last question I have is, so this entire program is going to be 16,000 for the next 3 days if we enroll. That includes the diet,
this 60, whatever the fee is, it is for the consultation. It is for the education of the parent or assessment of the test and treatment plan, all that. We will not be, the test will not be covered, any supplements will not be. It's only minor 16,000 for 3 months, and 3 months generally extends to 4 and 5 months. So I will be deploying a big team for you. It's not, it's a peanuts actually if you really look at it.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Shilpa, please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. एक्चुअली मेरी बच्ची 6 इयर्स ओल्ड है, तो उसको जेनेटिक्स प्रॉब्लम है. मतलब वो एंजलमेंट है ना, वो पॉजिटिव है, तो उसके लिए ये ट्रीटमेंट मतलब एसेंशियल होगी या नहीं?
आप एक काम करिए, अपना रिपोर्ट्स आयुष को एक बार शेयर कर दीजिएगा. Before I comment anything, I need to know about a little more into detail about the specific, what is the problem, what are the issues, and whether we will be support your child. Of course, always, it doesn't matter if a genetic problem, we can always support the child and make them better. but we cannot completely change things for them. But before even I comment anything, I want to know more details so that I tell you more.
Okay, क्योंकि उसका थेरेपी चालू है तो डे बाय डे इम्प्रूवमेंट हो रहा है, लेकिन हाँ तो स्पीच भी उसका मतलब कंप्लीटली नहीं है, लेकिन अभी तो 10 to 20% तो है।
अच्छा अच्छा शिल्पा, दैट इज गुड। और ये कुछ चीजें मैं सडन हूँ तो उसको ओपनली हम बोल रहे हैं, चीजों को और समझ के हम बताएंगे तो हमारे लिए भी अच्छा, आपके लिए भी अच्छा है।
अच्छा, तो किसको मैं भेजूं रिपोर्ट?
आयुष है ना आप जो भी कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं,
आपको डिटेल्स शेयर।
ओके ओके ठीक है,
ग्रुप में आप जो एडमिन है ना उनको शेयर।
ओके ओके ठीक।
मिस शिल्पा प्लीज गो अहेड।
यस सर, थैंक यू सर, वही पूछना था मुझे।
ठीक है, थैंक यू थैंक यू।
अच्छा सॉरी,
ओके
मिस शोभा प्लीज गो अहेड।
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, my question is related to the roadmap. As you said, after the payment or after the test, how many days we get the treatment plan? Because we have 5 to 6 days.
Working days.
5 to 6 days, because we have a holiday plans or after next month. That's why. Though, for example, I paid. Then test takes how many days?
Blood test can come in 2-3 days.
Apart from that, blood test, there's gut test, because the major problem is my son is related to gut.
तो
it takes
जो आपका गट डिस्बाइसिस का टेस्ट होता है मैम, वंस द लॉजिस्टिक्स इज टेकन केयर ऑफ, वो सैंपल रिसीव हो जाता है नवी मुंबई में, तो उसमें 7 दिन का कल्चर रहता है।
7 days culture, or after the payment you send the complete kit to us, na?
करेक्ट, तो 1-2 दिन में किट आ जाता है, और अगर आप जल्दी जल्दी सब करते हो तो 1-2 दिन में किट आके 2 दिन के अंदर अंदर या 3 दिन के अंदर अंदर लैब पे पहुंच जाता है, और 10 से 12 दिन में आपको रिपोर्ट आ सकती है।
Okay, after 10 to 12 days, it takes 3 to 4 days for the complete treatment part which we get. ठीक है, जो भी हमें आप ट्रीटमेंट प्लान देंगे, based on that we can purchase the supplement as per the whatever the result, right?
Right.
Or my second question is, who is the contact person for us? मतलब after this session, who is the contact person of us, or do I just send message to the same WhatsApp group which
We'll send message to the group. Otherwise, we'll be sharing the details of the coordinator, counselor in the group itself. तो आप उनको भी contact कर सकते हैं।
तो there is some others WhatsApp group will create, or same?
There is a different WhatsApp group for paid members.
Okay. You will share that now after the payment or after the procedure is done, right?
All right.
One last question is that my son homeopathic medicine is currently going on. It's related to some vitamins kinds of. So do I continue that?
देखिए, ओवरडू नहीं करना है। अगर ऑलरेडी कुछ चल रहा है तो हम नहीं करेंगे, अगर वो अच्छे से किया जा रहा है तो we have to...
Okay. You have a doctor unit, na? Then I can share the information regarding the medicine with you. Then you can guide on that, right? Yes. Okay. It's all happened at the time of assessment, right? I just my basic question is that I just know that when I get the complete treatment part, then I can start the treatment for her. Thank you so much.
No problem. Miss Gauri, please go ahead. You had a question, I think.
Sir, good evening, sir. मेरा बेटा 7 years old का है, और उसको इमेच्योर गेट करके बोला गया है, और पिकी ईटर भी है वो, और टैंट्रम्स दिखाता है जब वो हंग्री रहता है, और ज्यादा मोबाइल को ज्यादा एडिक्टेड हो गया है। तो इसके लिए आपके साथ एक कंसल्टेशन करना है आपको, हमें, और डायरेक्ट ऐसे प्रोग्राम ले सकते हैं सर? ऐसे डिस्कस करके रहना पड़ता है, क्या है सर?
नहीं, अभी देखिए, अगर पिकी ईटर है, टेंट्रम दिखा रहा है, गट का प्रॉब्लम है, तो आप स्ट्रेट अवे इनरोल कर सकते हैं, एंड वी शुड बी एबल टू हेल्प योर चाइल्ड।
उसके लिए मसल मास वगैरह थोड़ा कम दिखता है, इसलिए ये ठीक होगा ना सर उसके?
देखिए ऐसा है, जो हम खाएंगे उसको पचाएंगे तब तो मसल बनेगा।
हम्म।
अगर आपका बच्चा पिकी ईटर है, मर्जी से खा रहा है, जो खाना चाहिए वो नहीं खा रहा है, पचा नहीं पा रहा है, तो मसल मास कहाँ से बनेगा?
सर जो आप डाइट बोलेगे उसको हम कैसे खिलाएंगे सर? पहले ही पिकी है ना वो, उसको कैसे हम ये कर सकते हैं?
वही बात, 2-3 पेरेंट्स ने वही पूछा, अगर बच्चे को भूख लगेगा तो कुछ भी खाएगा ना।
हम्म।
एक बार रोएगा, 2 बार रोएगा, 3 बार रोएगा, उसके बाद तो उसको ट्रैक पे आना ही पड़ेगा। लेकिन एज अ मदर यू हैव टू बी लिटिल स्ट्रॉन्ग। उनका बिहेवियर चेंज करने के लिए थोड़ा मेहनत तो लगता है, थोड़ा सा तो उनका रोना धोना रहेगा। उसके बाद वो जो जब भूख लगेगा तो जो दोगे वो खा लेगा। दैट्स अ ह्यूमन नेचर। कोई ऐसा बच्चा हो सकता है क्या कि बस मैं नहीं खाऊंगा तो नहीं खाऊंगा, 10-20 दिन 40 दिन नहीं खाऊंगा, ऐसा होगा क्या? नहीं होगा। 1 दिन 2 दिन उसके बाद जो मिलेगा वो खाएगा। पहले उनको, अभी एक्चुअली बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स हमको बताते हैं कि अब उनके बच्चे खराब चीज खाना ही नहीं चाहते। खराब चीज में एडिक्टिव सब्सटेंसेस होते हैं।
हाँ
अगर
वो
आप
चॉकलेट बहुत खाता है सर।
हाँ, कुरकुरे हैं, चॉकलेट्स हैं, it's not the kurkure will have something added to it which causes addiction to it.
Okay.
Now once those toxic additives are out of the body, addiction is out, बच्चा फिर normal healthy खाना चाहिए, because body को healthy रहना है, body demands for health. लेकिन हम अपने माइंड को इतना एडिक्टिव बना लेते हैं कि वी आर हुक्ड अप ऑन टू द बैड थिंग्स। लेकिन जैसे जैसे वो डिटॉक्स होता है, देन अपनी समझ आती है, एंड वी आर बॉर्न विद दैट समझ। ऐसा नहीं कि हमको बड़ा 20-30 साल 40 साल का होना पड़ेगा बिफोर वी डेवलप दिस समझ। बच्चे, बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं उनके पास वो इनेट एबिलिटी है, बस उनको डिटॉक्स कर दीजिए, वो अच्छा खाना लग जाएंगे अपने से।
सर वो फ्रूट्स वगैरह देखते ही कुछ अलग ये करता है ना, वो कुछ डेंजर साइन है, डेंजर साइन है सर कुछ?
आई एम सेइंग फर्स्ट स्टॉप द बैड थिंग्स। ओके, खराब चीजें बंद कर दीजिए। फ्रूट नहीं खाना, नहीं खाइए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। उनको ब्राउन राइस खिला दीजिए, उनको जवार का रोटी खिला दीजिए, नहीं खाएगा 1 दिन नहीं खाने दीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम, 2 दिन नहीं खाने दीजिए, कुछ नहीं होगा।
ओके सर, आपके साथ कंसल्टेशन करने के लिए कैसा अपॉइंटमेंट वगैरह लेना पड़ता है?
गाइड करेंगे मैम। आप एक ग्रुप में लिख दीजिए जो भी आपका कंसर्न हो, आप चाहते हो, विल गाइड।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
मिस्टर वंशी प्लीज।
Thank you. Good evening, one and all. Sir, I have a few specific questions following from yesterday. I couldn't get a chance. So probably the answer is no, but I'd still like to ask. So for example, if you have a mutation of MTHFR, so possibly it doesn't have recipes or the ingredients that it might need, which is like a methylated folate. So or possibly we actually edit the gene, which is a permanent fix, where there are proteins and enzymes that it needs to generate those proteins. So I know the answer is no, but do you ever consider gene editing at all, or is it extreme that you wouldn't want to touch?
First of all, do we really need a gene editing, or is it really possible? Okay. Second, MTHFR does not mean the gene is fully dysfunctional. It might be functional by 20%, might be functional by 40%, 60%. Okay, depends on the SNPs. Now, all we need to improve the methylation by giving certain methylated forms of glycine and all that. That's one way to support methylation. Second, of course, you bring down the toxic load. So whatever, let's say, your car's abilities to handle 10 kilos, but you put on 20 kilos, the car will not run. So you reduce to 9 kilos, the car will start functioning. So not necessarily that this gene is never out of function. Body will not, nature will not do it. It's just under functioned, which we can, support the gene.
So gene editing, you think, is an extreme thing? So probably once we actually cover the epigenetics around it, probably it should automatically fix itself, right?
Yes.
In all of these tests, were we able to actually establish the fact that the brain is actually inflamed, have biomarkers like, an activated microglia or any cytokines as such present in the brain? Or is it just based on, we consider that brain is inflamed in all the autistic kids and we have to actually find
if ESR is high, if CRP is high, if ANA is high, if NTCCP is high, AMA is high, some of the things which are easily available in India, they're high, which means there's generalized inflammation in the system. If LDL is high, if testosterone is low, if triglycerides are high, these are all, vitamin D is low. These are all inflammatory markers. Not inflammatory marker for specific problems only. They're systemic inflammatory markers. Inflammation in the system, that's also there in the brain. It cannot be that the brain is somehow safeguarded. It cannot happen. Yes, if really want to, we are trying to find out if any labs are specifically doing brain antibodies and all that. We could not find so far, but we can always find tests outside India, and we can try sending the labs there. So if really required, but to my mind, fundamental anyway will, if we find that problem also, we'll do the same work anyway. So just start the work, we'll see the improvements, and then if still not happening, then we can dig deeper.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thanks. There are certain medical practitioners who really claim for animal protein being the cause for inflammation. Do you see any science backed by that? I don't have any specifications, but I just want to pick your brain on that. Animal protein or in any shape or form, which I think dairy.
Right. So dairy caseins are inflammatory in nature, for sure. Okay, but then if you have whey protein, which is hydrolyzed, which is the protein is broken down to amino acids, that whey is no more whey, then it is good to go. It is actually very, very useful. If the body is able to digest that protein, it's not inflammatory. If body is not able to digest, and undigested food is getting in touch with the immune system, where immune is reacting to it, it can be a problem. A lot of plant proteins can also react. Okay, so I am not of the opinion that animal food is bad or plant is bad or this is bad or this is good. I'm saying quality has to be important, and acceptability by the body has to be taken into account. Now, if somebody's digestive system is broken, and there are a lot of keto guys, they say only meat is the only option. You cannot touch plants, or plants are all crap. But then, can you really digest beef on a broken stomach? You have to give the food in the form where it can seal the leaky gut and all that. So that way, I think I'm not this extreme or that extreme. I am of the opinion that whatever is suiting, we should go with that.
Right. And could be a slightly silly question, but just for benefit of all the other parents as well. If we would want to, having one child with special needs, so everyone is kind of scared for the next child. I completely understand epigenetics plays the role in if you're actually looking at the right environment for the next child, you're not likely to have that. But however, I think the mother's body should be ready for the next child as well. So when me and my wife keep talking about that, I think that the first thing that comes to my mind is like, we'll have to actually just clean the healthier the mother body, the healthier is the child's body. So would you actually enroll mothers to actually find all the issues and fix them and be as ready as possible for the next child?
Absolutely, that can be done.
Okay, great.
Okay, now it's not just the mother, my friend. It's also sperm quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brings a lot of the quality of the sperm will also define the life that is coming to that womb. Okay, so male also has to be healthy along. Female certainly, male also has to be healthy.
Although I feel like mothers is a little more contribution because it's the 9 months that the womb folds it.
I don't want to leave the males alone. No.
Again, this is not a question, it's just a kind of my experience with my child to all the other parents, probably if that might actually just benefit. So बच्चे अगर शरारत करते हैं, they don't want to actually take something. It's basically the way I see it's like a vegetable market जाते हैं, it's like you're actually bargaining with someone. The only benefit with your child is basically you always have an upper takes, like you have the final say. So I'd actually take that negotiation with the child until I win. So आप ऐसी देखिए, it's like, you know, बच्चा negotiate कर रहा है, it's like, you know, he wants to win. You actually smartly take it to the point where he has to give up, and that's when he'll actually follow you. And जैसे as you said, doctor, जैसे it's like, you know, जब craving हो रहा sugar का, it's not the boy, it's actually the fungus within. So हम सिर्फ अकेले नहीं है body के अंदर, it's like a lot of bacteria and fungus that you actually just carry around with you all the time. So once you actually stop it for a period of time, the memory is gone, they would stop craving. It's only for that period that you hold it, and that's it. You don't have to hold it anymore because that's already fixed. Yeah, that's me. Thanks.
Fantastic, Vamsi. I think I really appreciate that. I think this is how it should be. All of us parents, okay, it's our responsibility. Okay, we cannot only depend on a doctor. Okay, if we have to solve such a critical and complex problem, we have to get together. We have to gather our own understanding. Okay, it's a difficult problem, but it's not something which cannot be solved. Just like Vamsi is doing, I encourage all of you to read, learn, and then you know, put all your best efforts to solve the problem, and it's doable. Thank you, Vamsi.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.
Ms. Nupur, you had a question. You're there.
Yeah, I have already asked the question. So.
All right. All right. Ms. Katyayani, do you have a question, ma'am? Ms. Katyayani, do you have a question, ma'am? Okay. Zakir, you had a question, I suppose. Mr. Zakir.
Hello, sir.
Ji, madam. Katyayani, please.
Yeah. See, what I wanted to ask is, sir, see, if you enroll for 3 months now, see, how long does it take to complete the process of testing, sir? Because then when will the actual treatment start?
No, so though your 3 months of treatment starts from the time you have the consultation.
Okay.
So आपका अगर if your you know, whatever logistics can take varied amount of time for different people, so you take 10 days or 20 days or 40 days or whatever time it takes. I'm just throwing some number, right?
Okay.
So once the tests and results and everything is in place, the moment you start your treatment, not even the consultation, but you start your treatment is given and support is given for 3 months of supplementation and all that. So accordingly, your time period is defined.
Okay, within these 3 months itself.
So it's not day 1 and day 90, ma'am. Typically, it is for 5.5 months. I mean, sorry,
Okay.
4.5 months.
Okay. That the 3 months time treatment is included
3
in
months
that.
treatment time. Yes.
Okay, that is treatment time. Okay, sir, I got it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Zakir, you had a question? Zakir Ahmed. Okay. Miss Vidita, you had a question? Yeah, yeah, Vidita.
Sir, yeah, hello, sir. सर मेरा एक कंसर्न है, जैसे अपन ने कुछ फूड इंटॉलरेंस की जो बात की थी उसमें we talked about dairy products. So I want to ask this कि जैसे we had our own farm, we raise cows so that we and our children could get good milk, not commercially. हम लोग उसको commercial नहीं करते, just for personal use. So we get good quality of milk. I know, without alteration, without any chemicals and all, because we feed them good food. So should I be concerned about dairy and milk? इसके बाद भी मुझे concern रहना चाहिए क्या? Because my kid is very fond of milk. Also because as a vegetarian, I could see this as a very prominent thing for protein intake. So sir, please guide upon that.
So Vidita, देखिए ऐसा है कि adulteration is certainly a big problem. देखिए आपके पास purest quality milk है, मान लिया milk है आपके पास, लेकिन उस milk का अगर protein आपके बच्चे को reaction कर रहा है, it's a good idea to continue still.
No. So how could I identify, sir, that intolerance की मतलब मैं कैसे judge कर सकती हूँ? Because he has been drinking since long. और
Does your child has a problem today?
सर ADHD का ही प्रॉब्लम है उसको. तो मतलब मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि मैं किस फैक्टर से I could identify कि मिल्क का प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है.
See, it's a complex issue, Vidita. Okay, it's a very complex issue. It only way to know that it is actually reactive or not. There's only one way. That is, you stop the milk. We solve the ADHD with the 6-9 year. Then you restart the milk. And then after restarting, after 1 year, after solving the problem comes back or trouble comes back, then you really know whether it's a milk or not. Otherwise, so many nuances. For example, casein is one protein. Lactose is another issue with the milk. Okay. And these casein proteins might broke into 10 more different components. To one component, there might be a reaction. 9 components, there might not be a reaction. The test that we do, this food sensitivity, might not even pick up the problem.
Okay.
So it's such a complex problem that we have to eliminate all possible reasons, at least till the time child is all good to go. उसके बाद आप इंट्रोड्यूस कर लीजिए. अगर आपको लगता है कि बच्चा इजीली उसको डाइजेस्ट कर पा रहा है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तो नो इशू. But then at least during treatment, till the time we see the fantastic recovery, I would recommend कि हम ना करें. नहीं, अगर आप नहीं करते हो, अगर मिल्क नहीं हटाते हो और बच्चे को रिकवरी नहीं होता है, मान लो, है ना, which I am expecting to happen, लेकिन हो नहीं रहा है, तो I would not know कि कहाँ से प्रॉब्लम भी फील हो रहा है.
Right.
तो थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स इशू है, इसलिए हम नहीं चाहते हैं कि हम बच्चों का फेवरेट चीजें हटाएं. हम नहीं चाहते हैं कि बच्चों को करें. देखिए, प्रॉब्लम इतना गंभीर है कि हमको करना पड़ता है ये सब. कहीं कोई मेरे को डर लगता है कि सब बच्चे मेरे को ढूंढेंगे बाद में, जब वो बड़े हो जाएंगे कि ये सब.
Right. Because sir, many a times when he don't want to eat, कुछ regression period जब चलता है development का, या sometimes he is not feeling well, तो he just says कि I don't want to eat anything, just give me milk. तो वो मेरे लिए that will be a hard thing to do, but surely I will try.
आप देखिए, मिल्क, आप गोट मिल्क पिला दीजिए. आपके पास तो फार्म है, गोट्स रख लीजिए, है ना, वो तो कोई मुश्किल नहीं है.
Sir, I think barely he would eat because they have already developed a taste. मतलब हम किसी दूसरा milk भी try करते, when we travel, we try that packet milk and all, they completely deny that. So they have already.
ये taste का problem है. These are acquired things. They're not. 10-20 दिन में टेस्ट चला जाता है, और दूसरा नया डेवलप.
Definitely I will try.
बैंगलोर में रहता हूँ मैं, नॉर्वे में गया था, मैं इधर गया था, उधर गया, जहाँ पर गए हम वैसा खाना पीने लग गए. कौन सी बड़ी
Yeah. Definitely I will try. Right. Also, sir, I want to ask that you said giving charcoal and omega supplements during before vaccinations and all. तो अगर ये सिर्फ vaccinations तक की limit है, या we could give this things normal या कुछ duration में to our child?
Yes.
ताकि वो toxins reduce हो सके.
Absolutely.
तो सर अगर देना है तो क्या किस ड्यूरेशन में दे सकते हैं और कितनी क्वांटिटी में दे सकते हैं, considering my.
आपका बच्चा कितना बड़ा है?
Sir, 5.5 years का है and one is 3 years.
Like for 5, let's say 5 to 6 ml of omega every day would be good. Okay. 1 gram of omega, let's say.
Okay.
Let's say 200 to 300 mg of charcoal. Charcoal को हमेशा keep it away from the supplement in 1 hour after food.
Okay, 1 hour gap.
नहीं तो रात को दे दीजिए.
Okay, sir. तो सर ये कंटिन्यू कितने दिन खिला सकते हैं, या कुछ एक स्पेसिफिक ड्यूरेशन, या
बाइंडर है उसको थोड़ा देर यूज कर लीजिए, हफ्ता 2 हफ्ते, फिर ब्रेक ले लीजिए, फिर यूज कर लीजिए, फिर ब्रेक ले लीजिए.
ओके सर.
क्लिनिकली अपने को डिसाइड करना पड़ता है कितना प्रॉब्लम है, डाई ऑफ हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है.
हाँ जी. ऑल्सो सर
थोड़ा ब्रेक करके यूज कर सकते हैं.
हाँ, बीच में दे सकते हैं. ओके सर, एक प्रॉब्लम और थी. अब वी डिस्कस की इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक फील्ड्स एंड ऑल से दूर रखना चाहिए. I live beside BSNL tower. So सर मैं कैसे रिड्यूस कर सकती हूँ उसका नेगेटिव इफेक्ट?
आपको घर चेंज कर लेना चाहिए. I'm serious
Sorry?
about it. I'm very, very serious. Staying under a mobile tower is extremely dangerous, not for your child, for
Sir,
yourself.
actually, sir, actually.
तो घर चेंज करना चाहिए. नहीं तो आप कहाँ पर रहते हैं? Which part of the world you are?
Sir, I live in Chhattisgarh, Raipur district.
Okay. So नहीं तो इधर बैंगलोर में एक हमारी कंपनी है, हमारे मित्र हैं, उनका नाम नेहार है. So they come and they test the house and see which part of the house has more electromagnetic fields, and then they do blockers and all that. So वो block
Okay,
कर देते हैं.
okay.
So safe
Okay.
level का will enter the house.
Okay, okay. Sir, तो please ये details आप group में share कर देंगे, sir, please.
ठीक है, मैं आयुष के साथ शेयर करूँगा. आयुष.
या मैं कहीं पर्सनली किसी से बात करके I could take the details.
या आप कांटेक्ट कर लीजिएगा.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. यही concerns थे मेरे. Thank you so much.
Mr. Tejeshwar, you had a question. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Tejeshwar.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. My baby was all right till 1.5 years, sir. She was enthusiastic, she was talkative, she was active. Now also she's all right, but she's not giving eye contact, and at the same time she's not telling her name. She's not accepting our commands. So recently we visited AM Reddy Autism Center in Hyderabad. They suggested homeopathy. So now are we allowed to take parallelly along with that our treatment, sir?
Yes, you can.
And what is the total cost of this our course and testing process and all the program?
So the services cost is 16,000, sir. The testing
totally, cost, sir.
mandatory part is 4,000, but additionally it can take 6, 8,000, 10,000 more, depending on the need of your child's testing. And for supplementation, you can expect anywhere between 2 to 4,000 rupees per month.
तो ये डिपेंड करता है मिस्टर राव. देखिए ऐसा है कि अगर तो बेसिक न्यूट्रिएंट कम है, फॉर एग्जांपल बी कॉम्प्लेक्स, विटामिन डी, these are not very expensive.
Okay, sir, fine. But totally, how much time to take to turn the child in the right direction, sir?
3 महीने में आपको डिफरेंस दिखने लग जाएगा. You might see 20-30% improvement. Complete recovery might take 9 months, 1 year. Okay.
So we are sure, we expect within 1 year she will turn into right side. Am I right?
देखिए सर,
because I'm much worried, because for 1.5 years she's all right. So now only the days turned into really terrific. And
that's a story with a lot of the kids, not just your child. All of them might have born normal and doing normal, then they regress. There has to be reason, and that reason can be really taken care. So all these issues, eye contact and all that too, is a very easy. Those 3 months it's resolved.
Okay. Yeah. However, really this session is really very eye-opener to all of us, sir. Really, I'm very fortunate to have this session, sir. I'll come back to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Rao, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Ayush, my friend. For me.
Acha, sir, we'll try to hurry up.
हेलो, गुड इवनिंग सर.
Yes, madam.
सर मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, मेरा बेटा 5.5 years old है, तो उसको हाइपर एक्टिविटी तो नहीं है, बस उसके 2 प्रॉब्लम है मेन. एक तो वो अटेंशन नहीं देता है, अनदर लोगों को, फैमिली में सबको देता है, सबके नाम लर्न है उसको, और बाकी सोशलाइजेशन में उसको प्रॉब्लम है.
राइट. सो देखिए, आई थिंक आयुष ने 2-3 बार इसको मेंशन किया था कि किसी के साथ अगर आपको इमोशनल कनेक्ट करना है तो हार्मोनल बैलेंसिंग जरूरी है ना. Hormones, many of them also regulated by the microbiome and also regulated by the kind of light we accordingly our body will secrete. Now creating right conditions within the body, the right environment will bring the balance to hormones. One of the hormones is oxytocin, है ना. तो जैसे जैसे आप ये चेंजेस करते हैं वैसे वैसे हार्मोन comes into balance. As a consequence, this child will start developing more connections with other human beings. So वो ठीक है, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. That is very very manageable.
एक्चुअली उसको जरा इस टाइप का मतलब यही 2 मेन प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि राइटिंग लर्निंग इस टाइप का कोई इशू नहीं मैं उसके साथ फेस कर रही हूँ. बट एक चीज मुझे हमेशा मतलब लगती है कि जब वो 3 years का था उस टाइम पे वो बहुत शुगर इनटेक करता था, लाइक फ्रूटीज, लड्डूज, बर्फी. उस टाइम पे मतलब हम लोगों को भी लगा बच्चा है, सभी खाते हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे वो लगता है कि शायद मे बी वो कोज हो सकता है सर इसका, कि उसने बहुत मतलब
जैसा
बहुत
हम
दिन से किया
हाँ
सर।
जैसा हम खाते हैं वैसे ऑर्गेनिजम्स ग्रो करते हैं अपनी बॉडी के अंदर,
जी
और
जी
जैसे ऑर्गेनिज्म ग्रो करेंगे वैसे अपना हेल्थ हो जाएगा अच्छा बुरा जो भी हो रहा
जी
है ना, तो डेफिनेटली उसका एक रोल तो रहेगा ही।
जी। नहीं बट अभी तो सर मैंने उसका शुगर इंटेक 0 किया हुआ है 6 मंथ से।
नहीं
बट दूध
हमें
तो
एक
मैं
चीज
उसे काऊ
समझने
मिल्क
की
की।
है, जो नुकसान हो जाता है ना उसको
जी
रिकवर
जी
करने के लिए बहुत डिटेल में काम करना पड़ता है,
जी।
इतना
तो
इजी
सर जैसे
नहीं है।
मैं आपका ट्रीटमेंट लेती हूँ, तो सर मुझे कितने टाइम पीरियड में उसके अंदर चेंजेस मतलब कुछ हद तक नजर
रमा,
आएंगे?
हम बार बार वही कह रहे हैं कि हम 3 महीने का प्रोग्राम से ही चालू करते हैं, इससे ज्यादा नहीं करते हैं। 3 महीने में
तो
आपको मेजरेबल चेंजेस दिखेगा ना, वो
तो
मेजरेबल चेंजेस 30%, 40%, 50%,
तो सर
60% भी।
इसके जो ये टेस्ट होंगे बच्चे के, इनसे हमें इसका रूट कोज पता चल जाएगा बच्चे का कि
काफी
मतलब
हद तक
क्या।
yes.
जी। इसका रीजन ये है ऑटिज्म का
जी
बेसिकली।
मैम,
जी
इंटरेस्ट ऑफ टाइम सारे पेरेंट्स से रिक्वेस्ट है थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी शॉर्ट में अपने सवाल पूछिएगा।
जी जी थैंक यू।
थैंक यू मैम। मिस नुजरत, you had a question, Nuzrat? Nuzhat, Miss Nuzhat Sheikh. Okay. Chinmaya, please go ahead. You had a question. Mr. Chinmaya Vera.
हाँ सर, नमस्ते सर। नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते।
सर बोल रहे थे कल बात हुआ था मेरा बच्चे का 4.3 ईयर से, तो 3 ईयर्स में हमको थोड़ा सा उसका बिहेवियर में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम लगा। तो मेरा जो डॉक्टर है उसको मैं दो तो मेडिसिन उसका सब चेकअप करने के लिए ओनली ग्रेड डी और एक तो सर्जी केयर एल सिर्फ दोनों 1 ईयर का है। उसके बाद तो थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है, तो स्कूल में थोड़ा सा उसको समझने में दिक्कत हो रहा है। बातचीत तो कर रहा है लेकिन मेरे से सीक्वेंस में बात नहीं कर रहा। जैसे मैं घर जा रहा हूँ तो वो बोला जब मैं जा रहा हूँ घर, तो सीक्वेंस नहीं रह रहा और कुछ बात को थोड़ा सा रेस्पॉन्स कर रहा है और थोड़ा सा नहीं कर रहा। उसको हमको समझ में नहीं आ रहा, उसको थेरेपी करे ना क्या करे हमको समझ में नहीं आ रहा। और उसके बाद और एक स्पेशलिस्ट को पेडियाट्रिशियन को दिखाया है, वो हमको ओमेगा 3 दिए हैं 1 मंथ के लिए। तो उसको कितना दिन हम कंटिन्यू करें? और हेलो सर।
चिन्मय सर देखिए ना, ऐसे मैं रैंडमली नहीं बता सकता हूँ कि कितने, वो टेस्ट का मामला है। अगर इन्फ्लेमेशन है, HDL कम है, तो ओमेगा 3 देना पड़ेगा। कब तक देना पड़ेगा? जब तक प्रॉब्लम ठीक नहीं हो जाता। लेकिन ओमेगा 3 ओनली देने से अपना प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व होगा ऐसा भी नहीं है, इट्स मल्टी फैक्टोरियल प्रॉब्लम। बहुत सारे कारण हैं, तो सब कारण को ठीक करना पड़ेगा। अगर गाड़ी में 4 टायर है, आपने 3 टायर ठीक कर लिए, एक टायर को ठीक नहीं किया, गाड़ी फिर भी ठीक हुआ। लिटिल कॉम्प्लेक्स।
मैं बोल रहा हूँ सर उसको कैसे एनालाइज करें कि उसका मेन प्रॉब्लम है। हमको तो थोड़ा इम्प्रूवमेंट है बोल के तो हम इतना उसको डायग्नोसिस नहीं कर रहे।
ठीक है बात। सचिन में एक काम करेगा, आई थिंक यू कैन टॉक टू आयुष एंड द टीम, दे विल रियली
हाँ सर।
हियर यू। अभी तो टाइम समय कम है, तो वो आपको
ओके ओके सर। लास्ट क्वेश्चन सर, वो सॉन वाटर के बारे में थोड़ा बता दीजिए सर।
कौन से वाटर के बारे में?
वो जो पानी को जो आप सूर्य किरण के पास रखते कितना सम चार्ज करके उसको देना है,
3 घंटे मिनिमम 3 घंटे रखिए सर, 3 घंटे रख लीजिए कांच का बॉटल में। कितना ये कांच का बॉटल?
और शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन सर, वो सर उसको बहुत फीवर और ठंडा वगैरह लगा रहता है, बहुत मेडिसिन एंटीबायोटिक वगैरह खा लिया, तो डिटॉक्सिन करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा हमको?
देखिए सर, ये डिटॉक्स से टॉक्सिन का टॉक्स होता है, एक इन्फेक्शन को डिटॉक्स करना चाहिए। एंटीबायोटिक खाने के बाद बहुत ज्यादा फंगल
बहुत सारा मेडिसिन खा लिया है सर, तो इसीलिए हमको थोड़ा सा इसमें डाउट है सर।
चिन्मय सर देखिए, दिस आर नॉट ऐसे, मैं थोड़ा सा ना ये कॉम्प्लेक्स इश्यूज हैं, है ना।
अच्छा सर।
उसके लिए थोड़ा प्लानिंग के साथ ही हम कुछ बता सकते हैं। हाँ, उसका जो प्रॉब्लम है उसको रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं
सर।
आंसर थोड़ा डिटेल में ही दे सकते हैं, ऐसे मतलब अब्रप्टली आई कैन नॉट से थिंग्स अबाउट इट।
ओके सर, गुड नाइट सर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
To all parents, details to enroll are shared within the group. Very quickly, Shivani, do you have a question? Miss Shivani, Anurag, Deeptilata, any of you three, do you have a question? Anurag, Shivani.
Sir, I am Anurag. Yes, sir, I am Anurag here. I have one question, sir. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, Anurag.
Yes. Sir, actually, I was going through the full session yesterday and today also, and some minor doubts are there. Like somewhere I have read in some article that child's brain actually is getting developed by the age of 5. 90% of the brain is getting developed.
Okay.
So my doubt that with this treatment, something of which is taken shape up to the tune of 90%. How
I think,
means how good it will be? Means how? Yeah.
I tell you, there's something called neuroplasticity. कोई बार जो आर्टिकल्स होते हैं ना पुराने, किसी ने कभी कुछ पढ़ा लिखा होगा, उसने बैठ के आर्टिकल लिख दिया है, ये लोग ज्यादा सोचते समझते नहीं है ये आर्टिकल लिखने से पहले, और आर्टिकल तो वैसे कोई भी लिख देता है। मेरे वेबसाइट पे भी हमने बहुत सारे आर्टिकल लिखे हुए हैं, तो किसने कितना रिसर्च किया, कितना डिटेल में लिखा, वो बहुत क्वेश्चनेबल चीज है। तो एक काम करिएगा, न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी एक बड़ा रीसेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है साइंस में। उसका मतलब क्या है कि ब्रेन हमेशा रीजनरेट करता है, रिपेयर करता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि फिक्स चीज है, इट्स अ डायनेमिक थिंग, इट्स नेवर अ स्टैटिक थिंग। तो आप जो मेरे से क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो, बस इतना न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी के बारे में थोड़ा पढ़िए, थोड़ा यूट्यूब पे सुनिए, यू विल बी अमेज्ड। हम जब बुढ़े होते हैं तब भी अपना ब्रेन रिकवर कर लेता है, रिपेयर कर लेता है, नया चीजों को पकड़ लेता है। अभी तो बच्चा 5 साल का, यार बहुत समय है उसको रिकवरी का।
Sir, my next question, second question and last question, sir. Sir, this, as you told that there will be some 1,000 reasons or 1,000 type of means reasons because of that this behavior or this autism is actually we are seeing in the kids. And based on that, some blood tests are also will be taken place in the treatment plan. So my question is that how many tests, is it some common tests you are carrying out for each of the kids, or how you are deciding that this kid has to go these tests and all?
We capture the child details, क्योंकि क्या प्रॉब्लम है बच्चे को, उसके हिसाब से हम डिसाइड करते हैं क्या टेस्ट करवाना है।